From snubs to the rockets, for the love of the chopsticks. Ran up for the plug and I pop shit. Faced with immeasurable odds. Some of you niggas found pleasure in God. Measuring rod, the treasure their jobs. Athletic build, moving with purpose. Tapped in a magnetic fields, moving with serpents. Took my brokers a stroker. Al Roker couldn't predict the storms that follow, the porn that follow. Same a tree that fall for Rollo. We made it rain and then we burnt money. Bentley truck, interior burnt honey. Anyway, I take respect over riches any day. I take neck from your bitches any day. Penny weight, that's a neck full of riches any straight. Shifting through paradigms, the color of Geechee Dan. Drifting through the Carolines, color in the Geechee land. Time will tell. We move around in 33rd parallels, like Coney Island carousels. Fell asleep at Roswell, woke up in Cozumel. Pyramid hopping, chariot shopping. #1 seller, author of conscious fiction, composition, confidence.
All right, peace to the family, peace to you and yours. Welcome to another episode of Melanin Monday, 68 to be exact. You are now rocking with the best. Yes, this is your brother Red Pill in the building. Welcome. Let's do the roll call. Shout out to all of the family in the building. Salute. Shout out to Empress B444, first and foremost. Pennsylvania in the building. Rough Buff Buffalo is in the building. All right. Salute to Buffalo. Lafayette, Louisiana. Colorado Springs is in the building. Pittsburgh, PA is in the building. DC is in the building. Scranton, PA is in the building. Salute. Jamaica, Wagwan. Clearwater, Florida. The BX is in the building. Colorado, North Kakalaka, Detroit, Newark, New Jersey, ATL, West Phoenix in the building. San Francisco Bay, salute to you. Southeast DC, Sanford, North Carolina, Tucson, Arizona, Westchester, Yonkers, D-Block, Oakland, out here in Vegas. Salute to Vegas, to the 702. Peace to Tiffany and all of the family out there. Lancaster, California, Amsterdam in the building. Light up. California, Killer Cali, NOLA in the building. Okay, Cali's in the building, Philly's in the building, New Orleans in the building, H-Town is in the building. Y'all be careful out there in New Orleans with the flooding and things of that nature. Texas in the building. Y'all be keep it dry out there in Texas with all of that rain. Okay. London in the building, across the pond. The UK Massive. Salute to all of y'all out there. Pompano Beach. Alright, Sniper Gang. Salute to Pompano. Maryland suburbs, that's right. Salute, shout out to the suburbs. Turks and Caicos. Salute to Turks and Caicos. Yeah. Y'all got somewhere for us to lay our head in Turks and Caicos? I'll buy a ticket next weekend and pull up. Brooklyn in the building. BK is in the building. Jersey's in the building. Salute to Jersey. Salute to BK. Salute to Philadelphia. Salute to all of the surrounding areas. Philly, Jersey, and Philadelphia. Everybody from those areas was representing very heavy this weekend. This was a magical weekend that just passed. It was a complete alignment. It was a historic week in the history books of consciousness, you know, and I want to just give a resounding salute and a 5-star salute to everybody that was involved and just every single moment of this weekend that just passed, both consciously and unconsciously. Salute to Seattle. Salute to New Orleans. New Orleans is lit once the NBA starts this season. LA is lit once the NBA starts. Yo, the NBA 2020 They gonna have niggas glued to their TV another consecutive year because the NBA 2020 is going to be explosive. Them owners knew what the fuck they was doing with those shakeups and whatnot. They done beefed up the plantations. They got the plantations running the ball, you know. But the NBA is gonna be lit. Find a way to monetize it, you know. Whatever you do, find a way to tap into the currency because it's gonna be a big currency flowing through the stream of NBA dollars or NBA energy. You know what I mean? Tap in. Yeah, I definitely got to get KD that gold water. KD, and it's a bunch of people in New York. KD is in New York. Mr. Flato for Kyrie is in New York. Brooklyn to be exact. So yeah, we're gonna get them that gold. We're gonna get a few athletes to endorse the gold. That's gonna be a goal of mine. 1 year from today, as you see me sitting right here, we're gonna have athlete endorsements of the gold drops. That is that's a factory. That's a factoid. Mark that on your calendar. Shoot, with events like the one that we had this weekend, something like that is just an event away, to be honest with you, because this was just the first annual wake up call that just took place. Shout out to AK Group Entertainment, everybody on that side, all of the promoters. You did an excellent job. Salute to everyone that was involved in AK Group. All right. Um, get LeVar Ball to endorse it. Nah, I'm actually good on that one. It's not about getting somebody to endorse your product. It's who you get to endorse it. You feel me? I wanna tap into somebody with the raw talents and get to them before these these corporations and these bloodsuckers of the poor do. From both sides. You know what I'm saying? Regardless. How's the picture coming out? Is it clear? Is it clean? Or do I need to turn on my light? Because if I gotta turn on the light, I'll do it right now. It's just kind of hot up in this piece. But if it's a little dark, let me know. You sure? Okay. All right. All right. Cool. They said everything is clear. Everything is clean. If I gotta turn a light on, let me know, cause we got the light. You know what I'm talking about? We got the light. You know. Yeah, JD and Kyrie definitely repping Kings County. I could see that. I could smell that. You know what I mean? Like that's not far fetched. All it takes is just a meeting of the minds. And one thing that I'm realizing on the behind the scenes of your favorite athletes and your favorite rapper, in those studio sessions and when the cameras is off, these are some very intelligent, these are some very wise, and these are some very extremely aware brothers. Don't think that because somebody dribbles a basketball or raps on a mic or does anything that you might not be able to do, that it negates the fact that they could sit down and learn from somebody that's teaching, or they could sit down and peruse the internet through the plethora of different lecturers and thought leaders and people who are on the forefront for black people in 2019. Because do you think for 1 minute, do you really think everybody is what you call a knuckle dragger? Do you think that everybody's completely asleep? Do you think that everybody's just lost in the sauce? You know what I'm talking about? I would say that that's not the case. You should get out more often, and you should not generalize, and don't look at the world from this aspect that's only been fed with the media or with talking heads who are really don't even have both feet in the culture, are saying from a vantage point that's one of criticism and critique, and always of not upliftment but of talking down. like when the Rolling Stones or when the Spin magazine or when some of these publications that are not necessarily anchored in the culture on a 24/7 basis, they don't belong to the culture. They have correspondents who will report on the culture, but they're not a part of the culture. You know, when those reporters start telling certain stories or, you know, get to control the narrative, that's dangerous. What we need people such as myself and other people who are a part of new media who have the power of the narrative to tell those stories. Okay? That's when we're going to see the potential of hip hop artists really begin to shine. When individuals such as myself, when Tariq Nasheed gets to interview hip hop artists, shout out to that brother. When he's interviewed numerous artists. Sinetta has interviewed numerous artists. Brother Rich has interviewed numerous artists. Brother Blue Pill almost takes the cake because I think he's interviewed the most. He's interviewed um, industry and he's interviewed the majority of conscious leaders, master teachers, thought leaders, and things of that nature by way of our podcast, Know the Ledge Radio, which is a successful podcast. There was a podcast before there were podcasts. Back then they were calling it Blog Talk, but it was actually the beginning of what you know today as podcasts, and we're 700 episodes deep into those podcasts. And I don't expect you to know that, and I don't even expect you to hear all 700 episodes. But I'm encouraging you to sign up to KTLUniversity.com and also to facts2020.org because we're going to be sending you, you know how they have Throwback Thursdays? We're going to be sending you 24-hour streams of some of the best shows on Know the Ledge Radio. We're going to have it the same way they have playlists on Spotify, the same way that you could listen to your favorite podcast on Spotify. But keep in mind that the Know the Ledge Radio episodes are timeless. Information don't got a birth date, especially with information from elders who are no longer with us, like Dr. Sabi, like Dr. Francis Cress Wilson, who we have an interview with, Dr. Sabi, who we have about 7 interviews with, Dr. Delbert Blair, who we have 21 interviews with. You name them. Give me a name. Our first episode of our 10-year, which is 10 years in 2020, our first episode was January 8th, 2010. And our first guests were Dr. Phil Valentine, Brother Taj Tariq Bey, and Sister Roz Mariah Bey. Those were our first guests on Know the Ledge Radio. Our second episode, however, our guest was none other than the world famous Dr. Sabi. So we started out with a bang. Next year is our 10-year anniversary. We're gonna wrap it. We're gonna have to close that you know that 10-year. We're gonna have to celebrate, not close anything, but we will have to inaugurate, coronate, and celebrate that monumental milestone. I can't wait for it. I'm very excited. I don't even want to talk about it. I want to just show and prove and surprise the family with something real big. But it's when I say real big, I'm saying big like what I just witnessed this weekend. A big event, yo. Big things are going, man. Both days, na man. Friday and Saturday. Saturday was in Philadelphia. Friday was in Strong Island, right? The forgotten piece of a missing component of what is known as Kings County. Let's go to school real quick. There is a prime real estate in New York State, New York City to be exact. Well, let's actually address it by its ancient name, New Amsterdam. All of this is on Google. Go talk to Siri when I finish talking to you. All right? New York City was called New Amsterdam when the Dutch were here. And they had a tract of land, and they called that land Kings County, right? This is before it became the Empire State, which is New York City, the center of the whole universe. And I'm not saying that because I'm from here and, you know, I got the key to my city. You know what I'm talking about? And my face is good in my town. No, I'm not saying that because of those facts. I'm just saying that this is the center of it all, right? So, in the center of it all, right? You have Harlem, which is the cultural headquarters, which is where the culture has been emanating before we were even born. Garvey was there, Elijah was there, Malcolm was there, right? The legends, Bumpy Johnson, you name it, Casper Weinstein, you know what I'm saying, with the numbers, introducing in the numbers game, Casper Holstein, right? Then you have the planet Brooklyn, right? The planet Brooklyn is a planet unto itself, right? Because inside of Manhattan, money making Manhattan, and Manhattan happens to be the financial capital of the world, not just of America, USA, not just of New York State, not just of the East Coast, the financial capital of the world. This is where it goes down. These are where the bankers commit um, some of the most wickedest and most advanced and sophisticated acts of, larceny, right? And pillaging, but also in trade and also in commerce and things of that nature. This is the center of that. So when they say money making Manhattan, they really, and this is Turtle Island. The island of Manhattan was owned by a descendant of Old Dirty Bastard. That also is a researchable uh, Google facts. You know what I mean? Even Skip Gates agrees to that, that he was descendant of Chief Duffy, right? And that was the tribe that was in charge of. They were caretakers of what is known as Turtle Island. It was a sacred ground, right? A land, a island of quartz crystal, right? Quartz crystal, okay? And they turned that sacred land, that sacred piece of quartz crystal, that island, into what is known as Manhattan, and it's separated by Manhattan and Harlem. Harlem is not Manhattan. Harlem is Harlem, but it's a part of Manhattan, right? And then we have what is known as Queens. Okay, for everybody to watch Coming to America, when Simi and and my guy, when and Hakeem, they were in New York City. They pulled up in Queens because that's where the ladies are at. Queens is a, you know, it's part of Brooklyn, Queens. You know, that it bred some of the nicest MCs of the hip hop generation, and we could also talk about the relationship of the boroughs by the type of artists and the type of MCs and the type of American gods that they breed. You know what I mean? Because the Bronx is the birthplace, it's the home, it's the only solid piece of land attached to North America. It's not an island. You know, this is the home of it. This is, to this day, to right now, this is the last bastion of alpha male, primal, right? Untamed, undomesticated, primal black male energy in New York City. You don't find it in Brooklyn that much anymore. It's not really in Harlem. It's been eradicated. It's in vestiges in Queens, but it's running freely in the zoo of the Bronx, in the Bronx Zoo. I'm in the Bronx Zoo, nigga. This is the zoo energy. This is where Cardi B hails from. She got that zoo energy. She's primal. You understand? She's primal. Niggas clutch their pearls when she talks. But when you went to vacation in the Dominican Republic and you saw that 65-year-old white CEO who was sitting in first class and you were envying him on the way to Jamaica or Dominican Republic or Thailand or Greece or Africa, And then when that man got off the plane and he was, you know, when he got picked up at the airport by a 9-year-old Lolita, right? Or a 9-year-old Belkazar, whatever Cardi B's original, whatever her undocumented name is, Belkazar, right? When you went ahead and walked past that atrocity that was taking place, well, what was taking place was another Cardi B was being created by a monster, right? That's the process. They say trust the process. Well, that's some of the processes that how Cardi B's are created. That's that energy that's running rampant in the Bronx, where I'm from. I'm in a this is where I was born, in Albert Einstein Hospital. I don't want to give you niggas too much information. You might try to clone me, but the Bronx is one of the last primal vestiges of New York City. Um, the energy, the culture, and the force that helped forge hip hop and a whole bunch of other things, because it's bigger than hip hop. You know what I mean? New York, if New York was a diamond mine, it has given birth and it has unearthed numerous black diamonds, numerous pieces of carbon who have been forged by the pressure that it's quartz crystals. When they put all of these buildings and real estate and these heavy skyscrapers and things on top of that quartz, right? Train tracks, skyscrapers, all of these, the Industrial Revolution with all of the steel and whatnot, it applied pressure to the quartz. But what this European was able to do, the engineers and the architects amongst them, they were able to harness that energy in the form of what's known as piezoelectricity. Okay, piezoelectricity, piezoelectricity, and they were able to harness that energy and that force through that. So a lot of the currency, a lot of the energy, a lot of things that emanate from that sacred mound, from that sacred. Remember, it's still sacred just because it got purchased or stolen or taken by somebody else who was not aboriginal and indigenous to it. It doesn't mean that it loses its whatchamacallit, its purpose. It still serves its purpose. It's almost like rubbing on a genie bottle. You know, that's what that magical sacred quartz is able. They're able to do that, but they're doing it to advance, and they're doing it to fulfill, and they're doing it to carry on their doctrine of discovery, their manifest destiny, their whatever the oath is that they collectively take. You understand? To subjugate into every day, not no days off, every day, ever since the doctrine was signed. Every day, you understand? To this day, every single moment, they wage war nonstop, in every in all corners of the planet. Ever since that document was signed by the Pope, and they formed what is known as Christendom, which later becomes NATO, they've been banging on Muslims and Saracens and people of melanated descendantry, Carthaginian descendantry, you name it, all of their enemies, you know what I'm saying? They've been subjugating and keeping them away or trying to disrupt. The better word that I would say is attempting to distract and attempting to disrupt and attempting to form obstacles to stop individuals, dream chasers. You understand? Black gods, black messiahs, hurdle jumpers. You feel me? Shot callers, bosses. You know what I'm saying? Leaders, frontliners. You know what I mean? Trying to attempt. to create obstacles and to, because that's all they can do is create obstacles. They can't necessarily touch you or stop you. They can only create obstacles, and they can only create pitfalls, and they can only create traps. It's the same um it's the same story or the same parable that you hear when you get into the biblical narrative, when they speak about Shaitan or the evils or the devil and the agreement that he made with God, that he's only going to do what? I'm only going to convince them to walk through door number 2. That's all I'm going to do. I'm not going to twist anybody's arm. I'm only going to do what? Encourage them. I'm only going to do what? Program them. I'm only going to do what? Attempt, right? To control their minds. And that's what you see. People are doing what? People are falling victim to auto suggestion. People are falling victim to the fact that they have no control of their desires. People are falling victim to things in which they don't know nothing of, things that they're ignorantly blissful of. People are falling victim to frequencies that are attuned to a higher frequency that they're operating on. It's all kind of traps being set, and niggas is willingly walking through them, on a daily basis. And if anybody's in observer mode, and if anybody's laying back in the cut like Fredo, you know what I'm talking about? If anybody's paying attention to what's going on in their circumference, you too can see what it is that I'm seeing. It's the decisions that people make. It's the road that they decide to walk down. It's the yes instead of the no. It's the left instead of the right. You know what I mean? It's motherfuckers choosing their desires over their needs. It's the duality of the evils. The rewarding aspect of tapping into your red chakra versus the penalty aspect of tapping into your red chakra. But knowing in order to tap but knowing that you have to tap into your root chakra, you have to tap into your red chakra, you got to tap into your ratchet body, you got to tap into your dark side, you have to tap into the unknown in order to get shit done, because that's the activated principle. That's action, nigga. That's the work, nigga. That's bloodshed. You understand? That's fire. You feel me? That's force. So an idea is nothing without force to back it. You niggas got a lot of ideas where I'm from, but they don't got no force. You understand? They don't apply force to their ideas. They don't apply, they don't apply the kind of force to their lofty ideas than they do to the lowly ones. Them niggas apply all of the force. They apply Jedi force to their lowly desires, but they won't apply the same amount of force to their loftiest desires. But they want to apply their motherfucking, they want to apply to take all of your time to, try to hypnotize you with all of their lofty ideas. They just want to, you know what I mean? They just want to hypnotize you with their ideas all day, but they don't want to apply any force. They don't want to burn nothing. They don't want to destroy anything in order to build it up. They don't want to put their hands in no goddamn concrete. They don't want to put it in dirt. They don't want to till the soil. They don't want to get their hands dirty. They don't want to do the heavy lifting. They just want to talk about this shit because it feels good. A form of escapism. You understand? A form of escapism. A form of mental masturbation. It's just like touching yourself. The only thing that's different is you're trying to touch somebody else. Shout out to everybody on the Cash App, money sign, PHILMORELAND. It's spelled the same way it sounds. PHILMORELAND. So I'm saying all of that to say that Long Island is an aspect and a component of Kings County, my clothing brand. People are not aware of this. I have to remind them that the clothing that you always see me wearing, whatever video that you see me in over the 10 years since many of you in the digital world has known me. And for those who have not been, who know me longer than that, you've seen me wearing these clothes longer than that. This is my clothing brand. Everything that I wear, I create. And I'm not sending it to no Mexicans or no Chinese people. I'm doing it by myself in the basement or in the lab. You know what I'm saying? And I call my clothing brand Kings County. And people are like, oh, you calling your clothing brand Kings County? Um, why? Because you from Brooklyn? I'm not from Brooklyn. I can't wear that. And I explained to them the concept behind Kings County is bigger than Brooklyn. Shout out to Jazzo. We're gonna talk about his Kings County company in a minute as well. Um, the concept behind Kings County is the fact that wherever you are, sisters and brothers, men and women, kings and queens, okay? Because you could live in a kingdom and your ass wouldn't be talking about, no, but I'm a queen, so I can't live here. No, nigga, if I send you the Uber address to come pull up to my kingdom, you gonna come and pull up to a kingdom, right? And you gonna say, come and visit me at my kingdom, and live like a queen. So you know that king is non-gender. Kingdom and Kings County and all of that, that's not implying a gender. Wherever your stilettos are at, wherever your sandals are, wherever your sneakers, wherever the soles of your feet press or your bare feet, that's where your county is. And if you carry yourself and your higher self and your proper persona with your head high and your chest sticking forward, you know what I mean, with your shoulders back, you know, and you looking towards you getting charged up by Ra, you not getting burnt up, but you getting charged up by the best car charger in the day on the planet, and that's the sun. If that's what it is, then you could tap into your king power, Kings County. Okay, it ain't where you're from, it's where you're at. Because if the king leaves the castle, is the castle the shit or is the king the shit? Wherever the king goes, the castle goes. When the king leaves the castle, it's just an empty building. You niggas is on Airbnb going to spend the night in castles and whatnot. You know what I'm talking about. It ain't no king in there. You know what I'm saying? So it's not about the fact that we don't have a physical kingdom. We need to get back in our kingliness. So if you're going to think like a king and you're going to walk like a king, and if you have the audacity to talk like a king, well, you need to look like one. You should be wearing the motifs. Every single motif that you see on my clothing brand, it represents that kingly energy. It represents that kingly frequency and queenly. I have the crooked flails that represents royalty. I have the conscious on the chest that represents royalty. That's the first step to royalty is consciousness, because if knowledge is power, then in order to achieve knowledge or in order to receive knowledge, you have to achieve consciousness at first. Consciousness simply is the movie The Matrix. It showed you in a parable that it's taking the red pill. Okay? But super consciousness is taking the red pill and the blue pill. That's the limitless pill. You understand? And that's what you've been taking ever since you've been in red and blue pill cipher, since we introduced ourselves to you. And this weekend brought a lot of that introduction and what we've been doing to a very interesting place. You know what I mean? I'm going to talk about it as we go along tonight. As we recap this weekend. This tonight's show is not going to necessarily dive into the into deep segment of what it is that I'm going to be teaching this weekend on a live stream. Into Deep Part 2. Go to Eventbrite and go pull up Into Deep 2 and get your tickets. I'm doing a all visual. I'm going in. I'm doing a lecture, online webinar lecture, live streaming it to everybody who gets a ticket, whether it's 200 or 2,000. I'm gonna be going in the same way that I did American Gods, and we're getting into deep, and into deep is just some deep shit. You know what I mean? And it's a lot of the deeps that we'll be talking about. We'll talk about the deep state. That's the shadow government and the things that the shadow government have been doing, are out there doing, how it affects us, and why we need to know about that. Getting into the deep mind, or what they know as deep learning, and that translates to AI, artificial intelligence, something that you must know about, something that you have to know about, something that you should be doing right now as a coder. You should be on GitHub or whatever. You should be tweaking codes, because we need machine learning that's going to learn about us from a programmer who looks like us. Imagine if there's something called machine learning, meaning that the machines are learning in order them to achieve what is known as artificial intelligence, but the programmers who program the machines in order to learn don't look like us. And then the same company that's programming the machines are scrubbing the internet of people such as myself and other individuals who are speaking the raw truth, not the consolidated, commercialized truth. Not that shit. You know what I mean? Not the diet woke aspect of the truth. The ones that are giving you information that's years ahead. They're scrubbing the internet of people such as that, because when machine learning begins to really pick up and take place, the machines will learn from Google. The machines will learn from YouTube. The machines are not going to learn about black power over white power. They're not going to learn about what are they outlawing, black supremacy. They don't want the machines to learn about your story from a black supremacy aspect. They don't want the machine to know about you in genetics. They don't want the machines to learn about you from your cosmic galactic history. They don't want the machines to learn about the great transgressions that have taken place by the same people that are programming them. So there's going to come a time in a space in the future where there's going to be a standoff. There's going to be a cross in the roads when the machines are going to have to decide over right or wrong. Their programmer versus those that have been programmed. You understand? They're God's children versus their fathers. You know what I mean? God's children versus their fathers, because the fathers of these machines have names, and those names, some Nigerian names, but for the most part, we know what whose names those are. So we're gonna get into deep fakes. You know what I mean? That's something that you should know about, the trend of deep fakes, where they're manipulating video to do and say what people want it to say. There's advantages in that. We'll talk about that. The deep web, something that you need to know about. The dark web and the deep web, places where a lot of things are taking place under your nose, places where a lot of criminal activity that we should be concerned about. Those of us who identify as ADOS, those of us who identify as freedom fighters, those of us who identify as, abolitionists or liberators, those of us who identify as heavy adherents to non-slavery in the modern days, because we're fired up about chattel slavery. We just want to grab somebody and do something to them. Well, I'm gonna talk about the fact that there is something called sex slavery, human trafficking, and organ harvesting, and it's not just taking place with people who don't look like us. There's people who look like us. There's people who hail from from the families that are ADOS who would be receiving those reparations. There are families who are still suffering from what was done on the sex farms and the trauma and things of that nature. And those curses are visiting the children. And even some people who participated, who were traitors and went against their own people, their curses are visiting their grandchildren and their daughters and shit like that. It's all biblical, ain't it? So these people, right? These people are enslaved in 2019. It ain't chattel, but they treating them like cattle. Cattle prodding them. They got women as sex slaves. Niggas got fired up when they saw Goodbye Uncle Tom and they showed you the sex farms. Well, goddamn it, they setting up sex farms in Hiltons and Marriotts all around America. Why don't you get on your Harriet and go run up in the Marriott? The Kanika Jenkins shit was real. Um, if you really do the research and you look at some of these articles, they do all of these My First Predator hotel busts where they busting judges and whatnot. You know what I mean? The whole casting couch shit in Hollywood is real. The black girls missing shit is real. The Atlanta childhood murder shit is real. All of that ties into a wicked network of if you niggas want to talk about reptilians and Anunnaki, right? And everybody's chasing these fucking smoke and mirrors when there are real people on a real dark web, on a real deep web, trading little babies and committing satanic lizard-like crimes. If you niggas want to be pet detectives, if you want Harriet to smile down on you and make it rain $20 Harriets, if you want to be blessed by the ancestors, if you want to edify the freedom fighters, if you niggas want to carry on the mission of the Django, well, you should be freeing some slaves today. And there's slaves out here. Don't leave it up to that nigga on to catch a predator to be the only one busting these motherfuckers at what it is that they do. When you see the FBI and the DEA or any of these government-sponsored organizations doing pedophile ring busts, oh nigga, all of that is smoke and mirrors. Huh. That's just something for the cameras. None of that is real. They're all a part of that. They're all a part of that. It's part of their rituals. It's what they feed their gods with. It's a part of their domination. Remember, we're talking about Romans. We're talking about savage and barbarians. We're talking about Ostrogoths and the Visigoths, the Goths. So we're talking about the demon gods. So we're talking about satanic gods. So we're talking about Crowley. And we're talking about Church of Satan. And we're talking about Golif and all of that. So we're talking about domination. So we're talking about children. We're talking about adrenochrome. And we're talking about blood libel. We're talking about shit like that. You know what I'm talking about? That's what they're doing. So they're torturing these babies and these children, and they're turning out these little children and these boys like the egregor or the demonic entities that were summoned in the quote-unquote Roman Catholic Church. That's what they do. And when they tapping into people's fecal matter, or when they take a ride on the Hershey highways and they dominate a man in, you know, in a sense of that kind of trauma, that is a ritual. That's a cult. That is an occult ritual. It's a part of Roman, Greco-Roman culture. Keyword, the Damo culture, the domination. It's a war tactic, okay? The same way that men raping women is a war tactic. It is a domination war tactic. It is the same thing that you see taking place. The majority, go and look it up. Go and have a conversation with Siri when you finish listening to me. And go and look up the Nazi SS army, the German Nazi, the German man. This is the descendant of the Gothic tribes and the barbaric and the Germanic tribes, right? These were, you know, savages. The Nazi party, the majority of them were homosexuals, okay? The SS, the Nazi soldiers, the majority of them, they did not, it ain't that they didn't hate gay people. They were that in themselves. They practiced that form of occult magic that those people of that sexual orientation, it's a part of their ritual. It's a part of their culture. It's a part of that occult type culture, dealing with sex magic from a perverse aspect, from a deviant aspect, or what people call perverse and deviant, but for people who don't identify with shit like that because they were laying down with sheeps and they were laying down with goats, and they crossed that threshold a very long time ago. Sometime in a cave somewhere, that threshold was crossed, and they start laying down with animals, family. Horses was getting laid. They was horses, you know what I'm talking about, was on Tinder. Them niggas had horses on Tinder. They had sheep on Tinder. You know what I'm talking? They had dogs on Tinder, bro. And I'm not talking about a regular dog. They had Cujo and a motherfucking the dogs with the blue eyes, with the Bill Bixby eyes. The saber tooth Siberian dogs was getting boned. They was lining them up. First date, Tinder, swipe to the left type shit. You understand? So that whole threshold of you trying to reason about the right and the wrongness of two men laying with each other or two women laying with each other, what I'm trying to explain with you is that threshold that they made that decision, that executive decision was made centuries ago, even amongst what you know as the Jew, because there's something inside of his Talmud or there's something inside of his Torah that prohibits him from cheating on his wife unless he's committing the act of sodomy with another man. Okay? Henceforth, if you ask any transsexual or tranny or whatever they name, I don't know the redesignation for that name is, but yeah, that part. If you know them, ask them who some of their biggest customers, the ones that sell the ones that selling the whatever they call that shit. Ask them who some of their biggest customers and some of their patrons. Who are they? What is their background? What's their nationality? And you'll see a pattern emerge. Okay, you'll see a pattern emerge. We're identifying a culture, a subculture, a counterculture that's not yours, that you picked up. It's been popping. It's been on the underground. It's attached to vampire culture, though. It's attached to genocide. It's attached to holocausts. It's attached to world wars. You understand? It's attached to occultism. It's attached to rituals. It's attached to babies and pedophilia and child murders. It's attached to blood libel, draining children of their blood, shit like that. So what we're saying is there's frequencies, this whole creation of reality that we exist in. Perception is what you perceive is what you believe. Your reality, all is mental. Your reality, your the world around you. DNA responds to environment, nigga. If you live in the fucking trenches, then that's all you're gonna see around you. You're gonna think like that. You're gonna process that in your third eye or your mind's eye. You're going to function from a state of survival because your DNA is always responding to that environment. So it's always in survival mode. So you're always seeing things either on defense or offense. So you have to be very mindful of that. You have to be very mindful of that. That's why it's very important where you live, where you lay your head. Even if you have to sacrifice leaving the city to go an hour outside of the city to live amongst woods, to live amongst nature, to live amongst serenity, to live amongst the wildlife where these Europeans are not hunting it down and shooting it down in your backyard, clapping squirrels and whatnot, and deer who are just trying to feed little Bambi, but they can't even feed their seeds because there's some people in the goddamn woods clapping them down. And we allow shit like that to just take place every day, every single day around us. You know what I mean? That's sickening. That's these demonic people. When they're not hunting these animals, my nigga, they're on, they're at work, working their 9 to 5 as a police officer, hunting babies, hunting little Bambis, hunting big deer, big gorillas, big bears and whatnot, big dogs. You know what I'm saying? Because, they listen to your music and they hear your names and that's what they call you, big dog, big bear. You know what I mean? Big squirrel. You feel me? They identify you as animals. They see you as such. And every other weekend, they're in the woods practicing and envisioning, utilizing the sacred science, right? Because they're into the sacred occult sciences. So they'll follow Napoleon Hill for the formula that he gave them about all is mental. So their lodges, their Masonic lodges, their Illuminati lodges, all of their lodges and some of the higher ranks of their churches focus on mind science, It focuses on mind power. It focuses on collectively, mentally dominating. It focuses on the power of the mind in order to create what it is that you want to create. So they're tied into the CIA. It's tied into Hollywood. It's tied into the quote unquote media. It's tied into the record labels. It's tied into the TV stations. It's tied into Nickelodeon and the cartoons. It's tied into the quote unquote public food system. It's tied into the charter schools. It's tied into the HSBUs, or it's tied into the historically black colleges. It's tied into all of that, the Ivy League schools, all the way down to the SUNYs and the CUNYs and all of that shit. It's a whole web. You feel me? It's a whole web. And they don't promote what it is that you need to know in order to break yourself out of this box. This within a box. This within a box. This within a box. This within a box. Because time is ticking, nigga. You want borrowed time. So you want to unlock this code before the motherfucking time is up. What you think? You just here? This is not a Rubik's Cube. You're not here to figure no shit out. You're not here to crack no codes. You're not here to unlock any mysteries. You're not here to go down no rabbit holes. You're not here to tap in. You just here to fucking bust nuts and take up time and space. That's not your purpose. That's not what we incarnated for. That's not why we're made up of all of this stardust. That's not why we're made up and wired like motherfucking niggas talk about 5G, nigga. We 500 Gs. It's not why we have electric bodies. You know what I mean? You just have to really use your common sense and get out of the matrix. So that's what we're doing. Know the Ledge Media, Know the Ledge Radio, Know the Ledge. Standing on that. A power brand. A powerful, powerful platform. Not your typical platform, because we don't operate by the rules of what you think a platform should operate. We jump on different platforms and we're on our own platform. And we form other platforms and build bridges. And we'll burn this shit if we have to. But that's what we're doing. We're giving you the red pill and the blue pill. Because in the movie, they made you make a choice. By making you make a choice in a dualistic world that you live in, they Europeanized you. Because to make you take a choice is to deal with fragmentation. But to make you take both of them is to deal with holistic African mind state. We're about the holistic. We're about to take both pills, not choose between one or the two. What happens when you take the red pill and the blue pill? That's the limitless pill. And whenever you tapped into our radio, whenever you was tapped into our podcast, whenever you tapped into our lectures, whenever you tapped into our interviews, whenever you tapped into our products, whenever you tapped into our status updates, whenever you tapped into our stream of consciousness, whenever you tapped into our music, whenever you tapped into anything that we do, that we put out there in the world, utilizing new media, because that's what we identify ourselves as, new media moguls. Okay? New media moguls. And we utilize digital convergence to spread pills. And we are the pillars in our community, the Boaz and the Joachim with the arch degree, completing the temple. Okay? And we here to wake the people up. You understand? And that it is based off of what I'm hearing on the feedback, we're succeeding in our endeavors. We're succeeding in our endeavors. You know, so there's nothing to complain about. It's only work that needs to be done. And I need those hands on deck. I need those who are ready to be on offense. I need those who are ready to organize. I need those who are ready to rise. I need those who are ready to, you know, take the formula and apply it to what it is that you got to do. Because, you know, this thing here, the formula is here. There's a formula to this. It's called hard work. It's called perseverance. It's called never giving up. It's called to arduously chase after your purpose. It's called living on the edge. Know the ledge. Know your ledge. Know that you're supposed to not be comfortable sitting in the living room. You should be on the edge of your fucking window. You understand? Testing life. Flirting with this shit. Flirt with death if you need to find your answers. You understand? Because, nigga, put a date. We all got a date. What did Yo Gotti tell you? Put a date on it. So you sitting around in a fucking cocoon. You sitting around in a turtle shell. You're sitting around secluded in your comfort zone in your little tent and whatnot, scared of life, scared to live, living backwards, the evil, going through evil shit, all on social media, jealous and envious and hateful of other human beings that are just living, right? Mad because a motherfucker could curate a picture on Instagram better than you. You're living backwards. That gives birth to the evils. Jay-Z told you the evils, and it's translated to devil. It's lived backwards. So you living backwards. You're not really living. You just inside of a cubicle at somebody's fucking worker bee. You know what I mean? And then you see people, free slaves out there. You know what I mean? Adors, American descendant of runaway slaves. You see niggas running around, running past the plantation. You get angry and you get mad and you get judgmental and you get jealous and you become a devil and you don't live. I'm just using a few examples. I'm not judging nobody. But you don't live. You know what I'm saying? You have to live. You have to aspire to want to live. And everybody ain't gonna live the same. But you gotta live, bro. You gotta live for something. This weekend, I saw people who were out here living. I was amongst the living and not the dead. I was amongst great people who were living out their purpose, regardless of whatever me or anybody got to say, how they live it out, at what pace they living it out, who they gonna live it out for. That don't got nothing to do with me. I want you to enjoy your life. I want you to live to your greatest ability. If you're in the Nation of Islam, I want you to do the Nation of Islam to the best of your ability. Because they about discipline. I don't want to see you smoking a blunt with me. You feel me? I don't want to see you out of step and whatnot. You know, trying to be down with the goons and whatnot. The goons of consciousness. The Bonchist community. That you're not, let the Bonchist niggas do what they do. You do that. If you a Yorkie, if you a Nubian, you know what I mean? If you Rahu Bak, my nigga, make sure that you Rahu Bak all the way. That's all I'm saying. So live, my nigga, live to the best of your ability. Raise the roof on a roof that, there's no ceilings to this shit. So this weekend, Friday to be exact, started off this monumental experience that I'm sharing with you. The first event was called the Wake Up Call. I was promoting it on social media. I was promoting it on other things such as this platform and whatnot. The roster of the Wake Up Call was Brother Red Pill, Brother Rizza Islam, Brother Ben X. Now I'm saying these names and I don't know where you're at with your teachings and your journey and stuff like that, but you might have never heard these people, right? So these are, if they not on your line, if they not on your radar, if you didn't get introduced to them, don't worry about it. They got shit like YouTube search engine and Google. If you interested, you could go and find them out. Find out who they are. If I say their name, I'm not, shit. I'm not out here co-signing no busters, okay? I'm not heard about no busters. So if I'm co-signing them, that they official, okay? The world is bigger than red pill. So it ain't just about red pill and blue pill. There's other people out there who play a part in the pantheon, in the collective. I belong to a collective. I'm not an individual. There's no red pill on this planet. There's no red pill. I'm in a class by myself. but I belong to a collective. I'm not here by myself. It's a bunch of us. You feel me? It's a bunch of us. Real quick, we're gonna take a little break. I'm gonna play some music, and y'all have a smoke or a drink or some water. It's mad hot. I need some water. So let's take this little break, and we'll get right back into the festivities of what this weekend entailed, and we'll sum up the whole thing. All right.
Contradiction, rooms and mops, Mr. Clean, we conquered the kitchen, facts and fiction, contrary to popular predictions, red pill, popping your prescription, stopping your addictions, yeah, bitch, I'm with the hoes, black magic, yeah, bitch, I'm with the souls, anything goes, cooking in Brooklyn, cocaine and push, new strains of the kush, we call that Hussein in the bush, we from distant lands, DNA, different strands, different strains, same planet, but different planes. Citizen Kane, Rosebud, they wanna get us in chains. Rosewood, the safety, stay off position, chaos position. Never took the day off the kitchens, way off the pitching. These bitches out here fighting for fashion over, crashing rovers, casting over 3 times, pre-crimes, Versace from your heyday, on layaway like Takashi and Treyway, hopping with the AK. The war is on double consciousness, the devil's competence and accomplishments. When rhetoric turns into reason, then predicates turn into heathens. And the wolves in Connecticut is seasons. Soon after disease will follow. I'm the same nigga that the D's would follow. Marlowe, my fam grew moving trees like Rollo. Before they seized the Gallardo. Went from Pablo, hopping out Diablos. Designer robes, dark side of the moon like the China Pro.
Make sure y'all go and stream Bill Bixby. Stream. You know the game has changed, right? You know the game changed, y'all. It's no longer what you thought it was. This is a streaming game. I'm playing that game. I got my shit on the streaming service. I'm not boycotting the streaming platforms. I'm gonna have my own, but nigga, I'm on Spotify. You know what I'm talking about? And I'm on Tidal. And I'm on Apple Music. And I'm on the YouTube as well. So go and stream Bill Bixby. Play it all day in your house. You know what I'm saying? When you riding in the whip, stream the song. I want to get my numbers up. This is a numbers heavy game as I'm learning more about this music industry. It's going to take y'all. We're going to cook. We're going to do the work. We're going to push the rock down. We're going to pull. We're going to do we're going to do AD and LeBron. We're going to move that rock. But we need the fam in the bleachers. We need the fam in the stadium to show up in them seats. That's how this thing is gonna move. It's gonna move with your force. Your force is your numbers. The force is you pressing the play button. The force is you pressing the play when a live stream is going down. The form is you getting the force is you getting a ticket. It's a numbers game. That's how this thing is gonna move. That's how the world is moving through the digital realm. Through this, that's the algorithm that we have to learn how to tweak. That is the cheat code. Learn it. I'm not gonna be here all my life teaching. I'm not gonna be here on YouTube all my life trying to plead with people and giving away the game for nothing, for free, and pitching wild pearls. Nigga, this is Pearl Paint. Okay? Know the Ledge Media presents Melanin Monday, sponsored by Pearl Paint, nigga, because every single episode was a bunch of pearls. I'm just painting it. I'm just painting the picture. So, shout out to all of my Patreons. Live streams are going to be directed through Patreon. Patreon.com/Red Pillar. Shout out to the facts2020.org family. We're going to be having live streams, Zoom calls, and a lot of stuff going through Facts 2020, our site right there. And shout out to everyone signing up to KTLUniversity.com. KTLUniversity.com will have all of our courses. It will have our teachers. It will have modules with our teachers giving out different topics and different teachings. That's gonna blow you away because it's gonna be information on levels that you've never seen put together on a learning site. So this is infringing upon the people's support. Your support could be silent. You understand? You don't have to say a word when you see me in the streets. Your support could just be in viewership. But there's those amongst you who are honorable and you are ready to really make this thing happen. And you know that I'm not just talking because there are people on the internet that just talk to hear themselves. I'm not talking. This is not me just talking. I'm here, I'm building with you. I'm not shooting from the hip. Like I'm putting it out there because it needs to be put out there because things are happening and things are taking place and things are getting done and this train is moving. I saw it this weekend. I saw unity in a way that I haven't seen it in a while. You understand? Um, I've been privy though in my time in the conscious community to be at the center of most of the unity that you've ever seen in the community because to keep it a buck, to keep it 1000, the energy on 125th Street that was always about unity and it was always putting things together for unifying principles was me. Okay? Shadow moon, you know what I mean? Like that was my energy right there. You know, there wasn't too many people on 125th Street over the decade doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes, but two people, Red Pill and Netta. You know what I mean? Other than that, nobody was consistently out there. Nobody was set up out there. Brother Sutek was out there, but he was doing his thing with Netta, and he was doing his, he was doing his thing. But we're talking about when it came to, creating media and content and helping to steer narratives and helping to put certain people together and helping to establish unity. You know what I mean? And things happen organically. I'm not saying that I was, orchestrating all things unified, but I never got out there and dealt with separation. You never saw me stand out there and dealt with, you know, disunity or that never occurred. You know, that was never the occurrence. And you'd be surprised how much stuff was handled not in front of cameras, but rather where they're supposed to be handled amongst the collective, amongst peers. When you on a camera, you're not amongst your peers, cause who the fuck, you don't know who's watching your video. That's just the most asinine thing to even think that you're amongst your peers when you're in TV land, when you're on the internet. You're not amongst your peers. You're amongst strangers. You know what I mean? You're amongst the masses. You're amongst the profane, and the masters. You're amongst the masters and the masses. So private conversations are not to be had in public. Niggas in private school don't talk to niggas in public school for a reason. You understand? It's a different conversation. You know, y'all in public school having public conversations, learning public shit. We're over here in private school having private conversations about private businesses and private affairs with private organizations preparing to be private citizens privately. Sir, private? It's a whole different conversation. So the conversations that you have in your organizations is not the same conversations that you and your organization have in the public. Okay? And this community has demonized being in private. This community or this social media generation has tried to vilify secret societies or people doing things in private and not in front of the damn camera for a goddamn thumbs up or something. Like, this is insane. But, you know, it's it's interesting. It's interesting. Let me tell you something about the public eye and how much of a fallacy that is. You out there who aspire and who lose sleep, right? And there's a burning desire in your soul to be known by everyone, to be seen, and to be the center of attention. Let me explain something to you about, being careful about what you ask for. You know, attention in the world of what is known as the attention economy, it's a good thing. You know, it's not to be vilified. It's not something to be afraid of, but it is an energy. It's a force. You understand? It's a real live force. And if your temple and your mind, okay, and your mental, and even just even the fact that you are prepared to receive that much attention, if you haven't been, you know, initiated into a system that's gonna prepare you to receive that, then nigga, it's like trying to learn how to fly in mid-flight. 8 times out of 10, you're gonna crash and burn. I've bear witness. I've been on the Autobahn. I've been on a Daytona 500 since I got on these tracks, my nigga. I seen a whole bunch of cars flipping over. You know what I'm talking about? I seen a whole bunch of Pintos on the highway, nigga. I seen a whole bunch of people crash and burn. Are you serious? I'm from the land of crash and burn. We got a whole segment on this season of Know the Ledge TV coming up called Where Are They Now? Y'all should look out for that. You know. But what people call attention, they mistake for fame. And let me tell you something about fame and the fallacies of fame, because not a lot of people speak on that. And not a lot of people warn the masses, because it's only one of me and it's a whole lot of you. You know what I mean? So I don't know how many of you are aspiring to be famous, but I'm just saying, I'm here to say that it has its pros and it has its cons. But one of the most admirable things that you give up in the process is your privacy. Always remember that, and always know and always value what your privacy is. The fact that you can move through this bitch without niggas staring in your face. You know what I'm talking about? The fact that you can move through this motherfucker and be great without everybody knowing that you're great. With being able to move through this thing and travel and navigate and just carry on in your adventures or your experiences as, as a ninja would in stealth mode. You give that up. You give that up. You might not think that you need that, or you may think that that's some shit that's, I wasn't using that anyway. I don't be having to sneak through the hood. You know what I mean? Niggas that try to reason that shit away. But to be seen and known and pointed out, and, niggas is in traffic. Yo, son. Yo, son. Like, and you eating, and you got to do a scan and whatnot because niggas might have phones out on you. Like, it's just weird, B. You know what I'm talking about? It's weird. Everyone in the future is going to experience that. We're heading towards that very quickly. Social media actually opened up that paradigm It fulfilled Andy Warhol's prophecy about everybody in the future will have 15 minutes of fame. What you see in Snapchat, Instagram, and YouTube is a fulfillment of that European man's prophecy. Cause all you niggas be on Basquiat's back, but you don't give Andy Warhol any credit, not knowing that that was Batman and Robin. I'm talking about, uh, what's the guy, Abbott and Costello. You know what I mean? It was a duo. So that nigga said that everybody is gonna be famous for 15 minutes. And I be damned if all you niggas ain't famous for 15 minutes. You know, whenever Shorty decides to drop that twerking video, she's lit. It starts there and it takes off, but it usually starts with a twerk in the red chakra, in the primal state. And I'm saying that, but I'm really saying a lot of people's career and their leveled up, their glow up. Glow up from what? If somebody got to glow up, it must mean that they was down, right? So a lot of people's come up started out on the bottom, and some people's bottom is on their backs, or some people's bottom is on their knees. You know what I mean? The principle of anything being resurrected or given birth to in the red chakra is, sex. It's raw sex. It's intercourse. It's fucking. You know what I mean? It's busting a nut. It's primal, right? And then it levels up from that point. So the Cardi B's, coming, she said her pussy is her best friend. That was her response to Jermaine Dupri saying that all you hear is stripper rappers. Jermaine Dupri made a point. He wasn't wrong in his point. He wasn't even making a point. He just said something that people such as him, who's seen as a father of that genre, being that he's from Atlanta, and that's emanating primarily from the red chakra regions, which is the base, the bottom of America, the bottom of the map. That would be the land of flowers, Florida and Georgia, the lower rungs of that. That's the red chakra, right? Bass music. I'm Young Jeezy from the bottom of the map, right? The base, the bottom. The nigga, the bottom. Sex, money, murder, nigga, is tits and ass at the bottom. It's bass. It's ass is shaking. It's booty shaking. It's big booty shake. Oh, some big booty shaking. Shake it, shake it, shake it. Right? At the base. That's what you see at the base of this North America. Right? It's red. It's the red zone, nigga. It's the red light district. It's the red chakra. It's the lower. That's why if you're a rapper coming out of Miami or North Florida or any region in Florida, you talking about ass and titties and sex and murder. Murder is the resurrection principle of the Scorpio or the red chakra, right? It's nigga, somebody gotta die. That is to keep the cycle going, right? And the sex aspect is the ass shaking, bust it wide open, nigga, hot girl summer, all that shit. You got city girls, and then in Atlanta, Miami is Luke. Miami is the bass music. The bass music is bass metal music. Bass metal is basically alchemy. It's taking bass metal and spinning it into gold. It's the primal aspect. You understand? What we are primal, meaning that we are basically at the core of our being. We're sent here to just multiply and to meet each other, and before all of the laws, before everything, and just in nature, we linking up, and eventually somebody's in a doggy style position and we're impregnating you. You understand? Or we're having wild sex. In our primal nature, we're multiplying. We're being fruitful and we're multiplying. We're not busting nuts on your weave and whatnot. We're not giving you the noxema. We're impregnating you. We don't even think of spilling the seed in the primal state. You know what I mean? We're procreating. That's what it is, and then we multiply, and then we grow, and then later on it changes. We get domesticated. It turns into other things and whatnot. But that's the primal. So that's the red. That's the primal. That's the chakra. That's that red energy. So in Florida, in Miami, even with the young boys, XXX Tentacion, the SoundCloud rappers, Gucci, right? It's all that energy. Then you go into Atlanta, strip clubs, dope boy shit. You know what I mean? You know, Bati boy shit, right? That's because that whole that deviancy is also a part of that energy as well. Sexual, it's the sex capital, it's the freaknik capital, it's the sex trafficking capital, it's the sexual deviancy capital with the LBGT shit. It's everything red. It got red clay. It's everything red chakra energy. Okay, sex, money, murder. All of the artists who came out of there, that's what they was tapping into. They tap into the energy, then it works for them. Stone Mountain is a big quartz, the same kind of energy that New York was running off of. And the mountains got gold in them. You know what I mean? The Georgia mountains got gold in them. So that's a magical place. The whole shit is a big forest too. It's all woods. Yeah, Big Meech, nigga. Shout out to Big Meech, BMF. You know, all sex, money, murder. All sex, money, money. It's just sex, money. Atlanta is a narco state. Atlanta's a narco state. Atlanta is heavy in the underworld, red chakra, motherfucking energy. That's what they cook from. Remember, Atlanta is banking. It's the banking capital. Like Houston is the energy capital. You know what I mean? And that's the banking capital of the world. And you know, their biggest assets are the people who live there, who are participating in that perpetual cycle of energy creation, energy dissemination, whether unconsciously or consciously, but from a place of, you know, all kind of sexual energy. You know what I mean? That's Atlanta. That's Atlantis. And that's what it's known for. So it's not a coincidence. It's not just haphazardly, right? So people who tap into that energy, as you can see, all of the artists, they tap into that energy or that egregor or that power source, and they feed it, and it feeds them. Hmm. Right? They feed it, and it feeds them. So you got to understand that. But this is also the same place where the Ku Klux Klan went on top of Stone Mountain, which is a crystal quartz. It's the most quarried quartz, I believe, in the South or in America. But they go and they erect the second run or the second coming of the KKK. They carved the Confederates on the side of the quartz. They circumvent that sexual energy. They're actually in control, and they're actually benefiting, and they're actually some of the architects and the role players through their Masonic affiliations and through the invisible empire, the fact that they're all connected as a true secret society and a cult network. They're the ones who are really feeding off of the bloodsuckers because they're tied into the preachers, they tied into the drugs, they tied into Grady with the bodies, and they tied into the CDC, they tied into the public food system, they tied into the prison complex industry pipeline straight. They get the majority of their slaves from that state. You understand? They're hanging niggas religiously in the courtrooms on a daily basis. You know what I mean? Like they're committing all kind of atrocities in that field. You know, so they're tied into a lot of stuff, If anybody ever was in Georgia, you know that the outside perimeters are surrounded by people who would be known as race soldiers, Conyers. They're on the outskirts. They're on Cobb. They're on the outskirts. They're surrounding the circle. They're surrounding the outskirts. They're all on. The further you go outside and drive out, they all out there, right? All militias, right? All of these people who have anti nigga sentiments, you know, and the owners of the property that most people live in these places like Georgia and these cities and whatnot. It's owned by these goddamn these crackers. You know what I mean? With a cracker with a K. You know, so it's all like, and don't get it twisted. I've said on occasion that the potential that Atlanta has to be the new Harlem, not trying to mimic Harlem, not trying to bring the Apollo out there, but to represent what Harlem represented during the Harlem Renaissance. Atlanta has the ability to become a new Harlem. It'll be a darker Harlem. It'll be it'll be a lot of twerking in Harlem. You know what I mean? It will have the elements of that red clay, but they have the ability to do what Harlem did in the 20s, right in Atlanta. If the right people got together and the right funding, it's going to take a few million, but the right funding was created and the right people came together and signed agreements and joined forces, this thing will take off. Because the energy in Atlanta is unlike any energy that I've seen in a very long time. It's just electric in the air out there. Like it's you feel like you could create anything that you want. Like I feel powerful in Atlanta when I'm out there. You know, and it's not just me. It's in the air. You know what I'm saying? It's electrified. The ionosphere is charged up. People are having fun. People are expressing themselves. People are enthusiastic. You understand? People see a different, they have a different perception of their today and their tomorrow because their DNA is responding to their environment. And in Atlanta, the environment is mostly black, and people are on the come up depending on what circles you be around. But if you're in the right circles, you're seeing black people prosper. You know, that is important that we all see that. Um, I travel a lot. I go to a lot of these festivals. I go to a lot of these. Like I said, I've been going to peace rallies and peace whatever and unity this and unity that and all of these things over the decades, more than a decade. And I look forward to going to 100 more. I look forward to going to 100 more. Ain't nobody gonna tell me when I could stop or what number to stop at. If it's gonna take 100 of those, so be it. It took 100 other forms of niggas getting together, doing some dumb shit that got us where we're at right now. So if it's gonna take 100 unity rallies or gatherings or panels or workshops or conventions for us to get this shit together to where we really put hand on top of hand, you know what I mean, you know, and make this and lock this thing in for real, then what, why not? Like, I know that there's a lot of things that people got to do in life, but I wouldn't mind penciling that into my schedule because that's very important and that's very doable and that's very essential. This weekend, like I said, I was joined by brother Rizza Islam. Go and look him up. Brother Ben X. These are out of the nation. These are young soldiers who are taking the nation of Islam and the world by storm. Pop Darby out of Texas. Unity is wealth. Yarima Karama, the brother who says, look it up, from out of Columbus, Ohio. All right. A brother by the name of Brother Squirrelfoot. I forgot his Islamic name, but he's out of Rhode Island, and he's in the courts going hard. He's doing the legal work that I spoke of in the last few episodes. He knows the legalese. He's defeating the aliens or the pilgrims inside of their courts, utilizing his law. Right. So I'm about, um, you know, results, and a man has produced that. He showed us. We were joined by my good sister. We had to balance the masculine energy, so we had our sister Tazarapad, formerly known as I Empress Segmet. She was on the panel. She held it down completely for the divine feminine energy. We had a special guest who was not on the flyer, but when he showed up, I knew this was going to be a magical, even more magical event. We had our good brother Hafiz Muhammad, out of Temple Number 7 in Harlem, formerly known as Kevin Muhammad, Brother Hafiz. He was our special guest on the panel. And when I say this panel was unlike any panel that I've ever been on, and I've been on many panels, I've been on some legendary panels. I've been on some legendary panels, and I'm not going to compare any of them because they were all magical. They're all humongous. They were all legendary, and this is just adding on to the continuum. But this one felt great. You know, we were speaking in a field, and behind the field was a notorious projects. Um, I believe it was called We were in Marshall Park. So for anybody that's from Long Island, tell me is that Terrace Avenue? I was told that whatever that projects were that were right directly behind us was one of the most notorious projects in all of Long Island. Okay, not just Hempstead, but all of Long Island. Um, it's so violent that the morning before we got there, the police actually did a sweep in that quote unquote project to nobody asked them to do it, but they went ahead, and then they had a police vehicle on the field, I guess for intimidation aspects, but I don't know. Nobody was even in it. It was like a big mobile center. Um, then the night after, the Saturday night, someone was killed in that same projects. And the day after, Dr. Umar Johnson was speaking directly in that open field behind the projects. These weren't tall projects. These were like average, you know, average level. But I felt you could feel the trauma. You could feel the drama. You could feel the grip that, poverty is holding on to our people. And I promise you, the way that this whole thing is set up, 5 minutes going left, Terrace Avenue is the place, family. Terrace Avenue. Go on Google Terrace Avenue crime. All right? If you want to get some insight to what I'm talking about, Terrace Avenue is notorious in, out there in Long Island. So the best place to bring the thought leaders who you mostly see on the internet, who a lot of those thought leaders who you see on the internet, a few of them, but not all of them, have been tested and tried, and you haven't seen all of them, you know, in real life, sitting with each other. Because the way to measure anyone who stands before you to claim to be a leader is that you have to see that person in action around other leaders. What is his disposition? How do you carry yourself? Are you statesman like? Are you a jealous God? Hmm? Do you share the stage? Are you egomaniacs? Are you a sociopath? You know, you have to see how people who you are listening to and taking advice from and receiving information from a place of, you know, sincerity. You should want to see how those people operate, not only around others, teachers and speakers and thought leaders, but the people. Because you could play with your phone all day. You could talk into that little camera all day, you know. But when you go amongst the people who can see energy and who could feel bullshit and fakeness and, you know, could sniff a fugazi a mile away, they're going to be able to tell you what's really good, you know. They're going to be able to tell you what's really good, who's who and who's not who they say they are, you know. Because you can't put the fake amongst the real and don't think that the fake is not going to stand out. You feel me? It's just a hood formula. You know, it's the art of negation. It's how you negate the fake niggas out of the equation. So, and another brother that I forgot to mention is my good brother, Jamal Milton, the Lighthouse. He's doing magnificent things, and he happens to come from Long Island, Freeport, to be exact. Shout out to Freeport. But when you say Long Island, you're talking about Public Enemy. You're talking about Rakim Allah. You're talking about Professor Griff. You're talking about De La Soul. You're talking about legends, Busta Rhymes. I mean, Long Island has been contributing to our culture. They gave us Rakim Allah. You don't have to give us anybody else. You understand? They, Long Island gave us Rakim Allah, B. Eric B. and Rakim. Like, those are the gods. For real, for real. Like, not just in words. Like, those are hip hop American gods. Like, if there's an American. I'm going to do a revised vision of American gods coming up, too. Where I'm going to show more of the American gods and identify them. But those two brothers are definitely on a god shit, especially in the world of hip hop. So, you know, yeah. Yeah, I gotta excuse me. When I say it's mad hot, it's mad hot, bruh. Tomorrow's a lunar eclipse. That's for the family out there. Tomorrow is a lunar eclipse. Okay? Get your crystals. Get all of your, you know, get everything ready. Get your charge your crystals up. Get your affirmations in order. You know, get your ancestor money. Get your ancestor money. You know what I'm talking about? Get all of that. Get your bath and everything ready. And get ready to go in. Okay? Tap into these portals. Tap into these dates. Tap into these windows of opportunity. Climb through them. You know what I mean? It's not going to present itself all the time. When it does present itself, it's up to you to take full advantage, because if you don't take full advantage of it, somebody else definitely will. In which, as you can see when you look around, they've been doing. So if you live in a world of abundance and you know that they didn't stop making cars after they sold that nigga a car, then all you got to do is focus on seeing yourself, feeling yourself, you know, experiencing yourself, envisioning yourself in whatever car that you want to be in. And then you'll wake up one fucking morning and you're in that car. The same way that you saw yourself inside of those jeans that you wearing, inside of them sneakers that you wearing, inside of the house that you live in, inside of the plane that you fly in. You know, all is mental. It's in your mind. It's in your eyes. All within. Bring it outside of you. You know what I mean? Get around people who are magnetic, who can pull it out of you. Get around people who are going to challenge you to rise up to your higher aspects of who you are, what you mean to to just the overall scheme of things. You know, you want them to challenge you to bring out and bring forward and to reveal a higher part of yourself. You know, and being amongst the collective, being amongst those teachers, being amongst those lights of our time, because I live in the now. So I don't want to talk about 2015 or 16. I'm going to talk about the now, right? So right now in the present of 2019, the month of July, brothers like Rizza Islam and Ben X, you know, brothers like Pop Darby, brothers such as myself, brothers like Yarima Karama, a lot of brothers like Umar, even, you know, everyone on the panel, as a matter of fact, every single person on the panel, um, brother Kevin Muhammad and the Nation of Islam is just endless, right? So the impact that each one of these speakers, each one of these thought leaders, each one of these role models, each one of these gods, these American gods, each one of these scholars, each one of these infopreneurs, serial entrepreneurs, social entrepreneurs. Um, each time, you know, one of us answered a question, I benefited off of that. Like I learned from that. Like you know what I'm saying? Like I was in a better position afterwards as a result of everybody's participation and what they brought to the table, how they were willing to, you know, answer the questions not from a place of dogmatic um, zealotness. You know how people always answer questions based off of their agenda of whatever organization that they belong to. People be like, "So, can you tell me why water is wet?" And then somebody from the nation would be like, "Well, I'm glad that you asked that question, my brother. Let us see. According to what Elijah said about water and its consumption, and I'm assuming that Brother Minister Farrakhan has also expressed his scientific analysis of what water is." Like, nigga, I didn't ask you what they said about water. What the fuck do you think about it? You know what I mean? Like, talk black to me about water. I don't like when people have agendas attached to their answers. And it's like a recruitment email and whatnot. It's like a, you know, niggas send out emails and then they got the mad long, you know, warning to the fucking, to the CIA. Warning to the CIA, do not copy or read this email. I'm protected by Title 6 of the Jordan 12 collection. Like, nigga, if you don't stop playing games on the internet, you know, but everyone had an answer that was in alignment with truth. It doesn't matter about if they were taught how to answer that question from their organization, because truth be told, we're all in school. You know what I mean? I meet a lot of people on my travels in my every waking days. So everybody's a class, everybody's a student. I ain't meet a teacher yet. Everyone's a student teacher nonetheless. But I seen elders sitting in the audience when we were teaching in Philadelphia. They master teachers, but they still was sitting there learning like students, right? I see babies sitting in the audience teaching master teachers. They turn into students. So everybody's still in class. We all learning until we transition into a higher level, into a higher form, and then we'll learn about what it is that we didn't know about who we were, what we meant to the whole scheme of things, how how personal this shit really was. We'll get that information when we graduate. You know, we'll get that information when we graduate. But for now, here we are in our limited capacity of overstanding, understanding, and understanding both who we are and who the creative force is and what the universe is in regards to mind, right? In regards to mind and how mind is quantum, and what is quantum and what is the quantum gods. All of these things are, you know, these are questions that damn near everybody, eventually will have if they continue or if they stay on that long road, the same road Bill Bixby was walking down, you know, that hero's journey, that long road, you know what I'm saying? That road of redemption, you know, the yellow brick, my nigga. You know what I'm talking about? That whole stroll. You feel me? That highway to heaven that everybody is walking down with their little satchel and whatnot, they hitchhiker bag, looking like Bill Bixby with their plaid shirt on. Yeah, that's what people are walking down. They don't even realize it. Some women are walking down the whole stroll, but they're on their yellow brick. Stilettos getting caught all in the cobblestone and whatnot. Running to the club, you know what I mean, to shake something, get a few dollars and whatnot. They're on their road to redemption. They're on their road to redemption. All the way down the road, if we were to fast forward down the road, she got on church shoes with the stockings. You know what I mean? The stockings is connected to the waist trainer and whatnot. She has the Ann Taylor, wool dress skirt, right? Covering her kneecaps. She has the long stockings on with the square shoes, and she's on her way to sing for Jesus. Okay? She's memorized a whole Mary J. Blige song. She's called I'm Not Gonna Cry. And she's gonna sing it to Jesus, her new husband, her new bae, her new salt bae, her new zaddy. She comes from the world where she was selling that caddy. She was selling that cat, my nigga. She was selling that box. You know what I'm talking about? She was on a hostro selling her jaw, selling her butt, you know what I mean? Selling every orifice. And then later on down the line, she graduates to becoming a Christian. And she's marrying the other white zaddy. She's into something new. She's into, you know what I mean? She done gave up the streets, and now she found her a savior. And this nigga got, he's a level. Keep in mind, he got an endless bank account. You know what I'm talking about? His shit is not coming. His shit is not drying up. Um, he's the all seeing. You know what I mean? So this pimp right here, this nigga's ice cold. He's a jealous god. You know, he's just like the nigga she just left. So there's a trajectory in this thing right here. It's a vicious cycle. People be thinking they getting saved and whatnot, and they just falling further into the dungeon. You know, going backwards actually. Going absolutely backwards, rewinding the tape. So the possibilities that was represented this weekend at the first annual wake up call in Long Island. It was filmed by Brother Ben X with his Black Magic camera. That is a movie camera for those who don't know. It's like 8K. That's the quality that it films in. It is very high powered, industry standard. We were filmed by that camera along with an iPad. And that's going to be available on his streaming network. The name of his streaming network is Black on Demand TV. And we'll also have segments of that available for my Patreons. For the Patreons, you will have access to the footage of Friday's event, the panel. Okay? So, and I'll be selling it as well. Y'all know how, you know how we do on the $20 cash apps. You know, we get you that email, send that right to you so you can check it out as well. But it was legendary. There was nobody was up there ego tripping. You know what I mean? Nobody was up there trying to, act like the big man on campus. There was none of that. It was love. It was truth. It was some hard truth. I go in and I, I'm known for spitting fire, but it was some hard hitters up there, y'all. You know what I mean? They was coming with some bombs. So I was impressed. It was powerful. The words were just echoing off of the project windows. Like, you should have seen it. People was in their project windows just standing there staring at us. They never heard nothing like that before. We disrupted a Negro frequency that I could tell has blanketed that community. Like, truth be told, not for nothing, like, we need to just go in sprinters and whatnot in these tour buses and set up in these zones where the frequency is mad low and just get the audio right, get the speaker sound system, get the fold out stage, and just let niggas hear the truth. Like, you gotta disrupt this nigga shit, yo. You feel me? That's a disruptor right there. That's a disruptor that has profound effects that could be measured by our scientists. We have engineers, we have scientists, we have people who are good with statistics and whatnot in our network. They can actually measure that for us. They could measure that. That could be done. We need to disrupt nigga havens, like nigga headquarters or nigga ground zeros, where the spell is being broadcasted and where it's emanating from. Whatever these places where the spell is thick, where the quote unquote, where the ritual is emanating from, that needs to be disrupted. And I'm not talking about with some screaming, angry, black identity extremist type of conversations. I'm talking about some intelligent, factual based, non emotional, black love, aboriginal, indigenous love, energetic, higher frequency emissions mixed in with entertainment and products and services alongside a wonderful food and beverage program. Like, you feed them, you entertain them, you teach them, and you answer their questions. And you got yourself a goddamn solution. You understand? You got yourself an activative principle. You have there for yourself a formula that could be duplicated, and it could also be, not only can it be duplicated, but it could be perfected to be very impactful, because this is about impact. This is about impacting people who are in a stupor. This is about waking people up with cold water. This is about shaking motherfuckers out of their beds like an earthquake. That's what this is about. This is about tapping into the energy system in New York City and making it black out. It's that type of shit right there. That's the disrupting that I'm talking about. You know, shining your light so much that you make the lights go out. We can't save everybody, but everybody is not going to be saved. But those who have signed up to be saved, and those who have signed up to save themselves, and those who have signed up to save some people, because there's people who are volunteers who want to help other people. They come across us all the time. Case in point, why we had to, start facts2020.org and also the university for learning capabilities, because the people are demanding it. They're the ones who coming forward. You know, I'm just giving them what they want. We have to feed them what it is that they want to eat. So the numbers are enormous, exponentially. They're growing exponentially, and but the people who are being helped already, and the people who are profiting, and the people who are benefiting, and the people who are transforming their lives for the better as a result of these transmissions, as a result of Melanin Monday, Third Eye Thursday, the videos we've done with Rich, the videos we've done with Baba TV, Kia Life Productions, Black News 102, Sonetta TV, you know, Know the Ledge TV, those videos and others, you know, honors. That's the only thing I can say. Just for receiving it, you know, and just know that that's like the tip of the iceberg when it comes to content creating, when it comes to production, when it comes to documenting and presenting um, our education through the form of entertainment, because that's not sacrilegious. It's actually called Renaissance. If you want to be, if you really want to get to the nitty gritty of the thing, it's really called being a Renaissance man. So in Harlem, what they did with the Harlem Renaissance is they incorporated the arts, which is your tool. The same way that you have Photoshop and Illustrator and, you know, whatchamacallit, Final Cut Pro, you know what I mean? And all of these things, even when you're doing your music and you're utilizing those programs, those are tools. And those tools are there to, chisel away. And those tools are there to basically fine tune and to help create ideas out of nothing. Those are very powerful tools. Those are tools that you could use to become a billionaire, a millionaire, and quite possibly a trillionaire. It starts right there on those programs. It starts right there. That's ground zero for your run. Ask anybody in the clothing business if they're ground zero of their come up, or they're operating, the formula of the algorithm in which they're operating is an Adobe product. It's Illustrator or Photoshop. Ask the person who's making money with movies now, who's making money as an independent director, who's basically an actor working in Hollywood, but who's on the end of making movies from being in control of the creative content. That person has also an Adobe app. That person is the foundation of his multi-million-dollar business is an Adobe app. It's either Final Cut Pro or Adobe Premiere or things of that nature. Let's not get specific and be like, oh no, we're cutting on Sony Vegas. Nigga, you get the drift of what I'm saying. Someone who has a clothing business that's selling millions of clothes, the operational foundational operating system in which the inside of the algorithm of that algorithm of success is Photoshop and Illustrator. It's the same tools, nigga, that you can grab. I'm saying that to say, inside of all of the shit that they're using, you got your hands on that too. You could get it right now as you're listening to my voice. You could download it. Go to Creative Cloud, sign up as a student, and pay $20 a month. You have in possession the tools to take you out of complete poverty in a snap of a fingers, in a Thanos snap. That's a fact. That is a savior, nigga. That is a savior, lifesaver right there. You know what I mean? Like, if you really know the simplicity, but also the complexity and what's being said, then you gonna save yourself. But I'm saying, the same way that we had tradesmen back in the days, well, nowadays we got niggas who know how to do Photoshop and Illustrator, and you know, Looney and Fruity Loops and Reason. You understand? That's the trade that they work in that shit today, like a trade. $50 an hour, $70 an hour, $80 an hour. Yeah, they getting all that. Code writers, code developers, people who are doing CSS, Python, and all of that. You know, I'm talking about people that are flying Android drone photography, selling stock footage. I have 44 income streams that you could tap into right now. You know, these are all of the things that will, you know, that our members, you know, they get all of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's real in the field, you know. But I don't want to get exhausted because, like I said, it's hot. And we're recapping this weekend. And I'm trying my best to paint a picture for people who were not there. Go on my Instagram and you'll see some pictures. Go and put in the hashtag the wake up call and you'll see other pictures. But we'll come out with some clips, some video clips, because we know the game, everything is visual. If you don't show it in video, it never happened. So we're going to be putting out clips periodically. And we look forward to your feedback. And please know that you'll see this again. Please know that you'll see this again, right? This is the beginning of something monumental. The next day after the event and Friday, the next day we had the Philadelphia event with Blue Pill, Red Pill, Professor Smalls, and Pan Africa. Right? That's the flyer. I'm gonna put that on my wall. But yo, when I say this lecture was a classic, y'all, oh man, this lecture was a straight classic. Like, this right here was a body bag. Special guest mama pill. I brought my mama out. In the beginning of the lecture, when we got up there, we did an honoring of the elder ceremony, and we presented Dr. Africa, Professor James Smalls, an elder who's a business owner for 50 years in the community, and Mama Pill, and we presented them with jewelry, copper awards. You know what I mean? We gave them awards that were in the form of copper and precious stones, and we did that to pay homage to the people who have come before us. You know how people ask permission for the elders to speak? Yeah, nigga, that's corny. You know what I mean? That shit is played out. Give the elders a gift before you speak. You understand? Give them a gift before you speak. Don't act. They not gonna not give you permission to speak, nigga. You know what I mean? They're not gonna say, nah, you don't got permission to speak. They're gonna let your ass speak. But instead of asking them and all of that, just give them a gift and give them their flowers and big them up and give them a present and give them a reward. What else do they got to do to get a goddamn reward if they're over 40 years old doing the work? Every time that they pull up, every time that you share a venue with them, Every time that you share a goddamn stage with them, you give them a reward right now. What are you waiting for? If they got master teacher attached to their name, if they have elder attached to their name, and they're out here, teaching and standing in front of the people, we gotta hold them up. We have to let the youth, we gotta let the babies, we gotta let the new students, we gotta remind the old students how important these people are in our life, the living legends. Do you understand? These are living legends. You cannot replace them. There is no us. If there's no them, there's no us. We are emanations of the work that they did before we got here. I'm not that cocky and arrogant to whereas I got here by myself. They paved the way. And it was many of them. It was many of them. They paved the way. So we have to pay. We have to humble ourselves and make them feel appreciated, because the event was about African spirituality and wellness, health and wellness. But the foundation of the event, the core of the event was paying attention and raising awareness to the fact that there are political prisoners still in jail after 45 years of being on lockdown. The Mumia Abu Jamals of the world, the H. Rap Browns of the world, the fact that they are silencing our leaders, the fact that they've had illegal campaigns to incarcerate and to take away the freedom and to try to take away the message of our great ones, the frontliners, the warriors. And they could take the body away, but as you could see with Mumia, and as you could see with the exonerated five, and as you could see with other people who they try to hold down, they could hold your body down, but your writings, your words, your speeches, what it is that you put out there, it'll find a way to the people. You understand? And you'll live through your works, right? You'll live through your works. So one of the premises of the lecture is we wanted to appreciate those who could often feel unappreciated. Imagine being an elder in consciousness in 2019 where everything is digital and viral, and it's a whole bunch of hyenas on the horizon running around, but not giving no homage whatsoever to any elders. They just running around uncouth. You know what I mean? Imagine being an elder in consciousness or in the world of the wild, wild conscious, where you don't know if a nigga is going to try to ambush you and debate you at your own lecture or nah. You know, imagine their mind state in 2019. And they like, yo, I don't know what's gonna, because they don't know they don't know who's who, what's what the hell finna go down. You know what I mean? Who's uncontrollable in the audience. Based if they watch YouTube, and especially if they read the comment sections. You know what I'm saying? If they read the comment sections, then they might live in fear when they come out the house to a conscious event amongst rambunctious Negroes who take all of this shit way too serious because they're not taking themselves serious. You know? So making our elders feel appreciated was healing to me. It was healing. It was therapeutic. You know, I feel unappreciated. My whole bid. You know what I mean? My whole bid. I've tasted the bitters of consciousness. Nigga, consciousness is Cascara Sagrada. You understand? Consciousness is Cascara Sagrada, my nigga. It's a bitter. It's not a sweet elixir. It's not sea moss. You understand? It doesn't go down smoothly. It is a hard pill to swallow, and it is a bitter, and it will flush your system out. So consciousness, that it's the bitch that life is that I'm married to. You know what I mean? I tell people I'm married to consciousness. That's my boo. That's bae. You know what I'm talking about? That's my wifey. Consciousness, that's who I'm married to. We eloped in Vegas a long time ago. You know, that's my bottom bitch. Consciousness is my bottom bitch. You know what I'm talking about? Cause she been with me. She been with me when everything else was done and the seasons and the reasons were over. I was still with consciousness, and she was telling me what to do and what to wear, what to say, and when to care. That it was consoling. That's a fact. That was all consciousness. You know what I mean? She takes care of me. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's there for the God. And she be like, go out there and get them other wives. You know what I mean? And make them work this shit for us. She put me on assignment. So, I don't know what else to say. I might be saying too much. Can I get some more likes so we could keep on going in? You know what I mean? I know y'all, just take a. So, not being appreciated is a fuel, right? It's a fuel that burns slow, and it makes you go harder, right? But you're not going harder from a place of abundance. You're going harder from a place of lack, because you're not receiving your just due for the work that you do in an unfavorable, right? In an unrewarding environment that's called consciousness. Because remember, the reward system hasn't been established, the penalty system haven't been established, and the value system haven't been established. Dapper Dan touched on the value system in the Breakfast Club interview, which I remind you is a must watch. This homework, anybody that's out there, go and watch Dapper Dan Breakfast Club. He spoke about the fact that black people don't value themselves. There's no value system in black America for black products and black brands and think all things black. So you cannot ask us to create the next Gucci unless you speak to us and ask us, when are we going to restore the value system? When are we going to add value to our genius? We don't have value anymore. We've taken away the value from the genius, and we gave value to the hyenas. We gave value to the shooters, and we took away we gave value to the niggas that got shot, and we took away value from the shooter. You know what I mean? The culture has been hijacked. The culture is being manipulated. You know what I'm saying? There's a virus in the culture. So, no, my nigga, it doesn't work like that. You know what I'm saying? You gotta work within the parameters of shit that works. It doesn't work like that. We don't give each other value. We got the Midas touch, but when it comes to each other, we work on how to devalue each other. You understand? We work in reverse when it comes to ourselves, but we have the Midas touch. We turn everything else into gold. But because we're niggas and everything that niggas turns into dust, nigga, we're Thanos. You know what I'm saying? We're Thanos. Everything that we touch, it depreciates in value. Everything that we touch turns to dust and it rusts. Everything that we touch breaks. Everything that we touch turns into ashes, dust to dust. Everything that we touch deteriorates. You understand? But then when it comes to the what we contributed to America, but when it comes to what we contributed to USA, but when it comes to what we contribute to industry, but when it comes to what we contribute to Hollywood, but when it comes to what we contribute to the brands, but when it comes to what we contribute to the Ashkenazis and the Jews, we turn everything that we touch for them into gold. We appreciate the value of everything that we paint, everything that we touch, everything that we step on, everything that we skeeted on, everything that we wrote on. Tupac's breakup letter to Madonna is going for $300,000. Tupac was in love with Madonna. He has a breakup letter. It's being auctioned off. Go and Google it, nigga. Don't believe me. Talk to Siri after I finish diagnosing you. Go and talk to her. And she will tell you that Tupac's breakup letter is going for 300 racks. He told Madonna that he can't be with her because the world cannot take him being with a white woman, an older white woman at that. All right? She is a legend. She took down Big Daddy Kane and Tupac Shakur. She has graveyard pussy. She is the first one before the Kardashians. We're going to talk about that in a lecture coming up. Maybe in Too Deep, we might get into Madonna's graveyard pussy. Okay? And the fact that that nigga was in jail because he fucked Madonna. We're going to talk about that. You know what I'm talking about? Go and look it up. She's graveyard box. There's a few white women in the industry that was graveyard pussy that took a few niggas down. Okay? They took a few good niggas down with them. With that graveyard box and Kim Kardashian and the Kardashians and the offsprings, the Jenners, and some other ones out there. You know what I'm saying? They moving like that. It's girls in the hood with graveyard pussy. You know what I'm talking about? It's girls in the game with graveyard pussy where, you know, everybody who came up out of that box is in a box. You know, literally, they either 6 feet or they doing 80,000 years. And she like, man, these niggas keep leaving me. I don't know what it is. I know what it is. You know what I'm saying? Who saw American Gods? The black woman who was the Queen of Sheba, what did she do? She did what? She consumed all of her sexual mates in the box, right? There was a graveyard in there. She was taking them and consuming them and eating them alive in the abyss, in the black hole, right? She swallowed them. She swallowed them with the yoni. The yoni opened up. She swallowed them. Pandora, right? So that concept right there, because a lot of people, we in love with, I say we, I don't speak French. Shout out to Pinky. That's my peoples, but I'm not in love with her. Niggas is in love with porn stars, right? So they like that character right there. Shit, they open up and it's 1,000 niggas in there. If you want to talk about bodies and whatnot, they the female 007. They the black Bond, nigga. They got mad bodies. You know what I'm talking about? On the low. They out here like hitmen, MI6. You know what I'm talking about? The harlot. You know, Marge. That's Madonna, Marge. You know, she's like the harlot. There's all kind of demons that they put in her, right? And then they release her onto the rappers, the American Gods, and contaminate them. Like in the series American Gods, Shadow Moon, his woman was a white dead woman. You know what I'm talking about? A walking dead. Does that sound familiar? She like Marge, you know. I won't even talk about some of the spirit cooking that Madonna has participated in. But I know that a lot of those rappers who touched her and got with her got bitten by her. This is Interview with a Vampire type of shit. And niggas is acting like they don't see it. Like Dennis Rodman really turned into a goblin or a ghoul after his encounters with Madonna. Big Daddy Kane was at the top of his game, and he turned into something that we didn't recognize after his tryst with Madonna. Tupac Shakur was at the height of his career after Juice, doing what he was doing, and then he basically took a fall, got shot 5 times, locked up the next day, and all kind of other shit. He had a slew of bad luck after his tryst with Madonna. So we're not giving you. And I guess if she gave Basquiat some head, I don't know. There's a few other bodies. I'll talk to my dad because he knows shit like that, and I'll speak to some other people about her hit list and the graveyard that she caught, and multiply her by 100, and then you could understand what's going on to some of our brothers that are in Hollyweird, you know, with their souls in a mason jar on some real life get out type shit. This niggas in Boise, Idaho, you know what I mean? Columbus, Ohio, Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas, Houston, all places where black men play in the snow like Hannibal, crossing the Alps, but you don't make it to the next side. You know what I mean? Niggas is on a get out type shit. Like, you know, there's some things going down because a lot of the brothers who have committed to that lifestyle, it seems like we may have lost our brothers and our sisters. You know, when I look in their pupils, I don't see the signal is that strong. Somebody said they don't remember Big Daddy Kane and Madonna. Go and Google Big Daddy Kane Madonna. Like I said, after I talk to you, you could go and talk to Siri. You know what I'm talking about? And everything that I say, you could write it down and go and do the fact check. If there's a videographer out there who can edit some of these videos that I'm talking about when I say some of these facts, give me a fact count and show the article or what it is that I'm talking about. Clip the video, show the video clip, whatever you got to do. Let's get our editors out there. I should put that out as a challenge. You know what I mean? Because we're in the new we're in the motherfucking a new age. Like, we're in the future. So our content and what it is that we're doing with our news, it should look like that. And there's teams out there, we could make this happen. So let's get together in the digital realm. You know what I mean? Let's build a digital network where we could function in a digital realm. And don't worry about if they unplug the internet for all of my pessimists. Nigga, we'll have your phone number. You know what I'm saying? We'll call you up if that happens and set up a face-to-face. You dig? Yeah, but Madonna was out here snatching niggas' souls, ending careers, and putting some of our gods. Big Daddy Kane was a fucking god at that time. Nigga, Big Daddy Kane was a black god. There is no Jay-Z without Big Daddy Kane. And she caught that body, bro. She ended that nigga. He had a picture where he was showing his genitals in an uncompromising position, and she put him up to that. He was done after that. I think he was in her coffee book, looking real moist, like a moist brownie. You know, niggas was finished with him after that. Then he came out with an album, I think he was singing. You gotta remember, if you get your soul snatched and you a musician, you're not gonna make the same music anymore. It's going to show up in your creativity. It's going to show up in your music. Your music is going to take a hit. Your art is going to take a hit because your chi, your blue light, nigga, your soul is inside of your scrotum. It's inside of your semen. It's inside of your sexual energy. And when you allow people who are gypsies, people who are energy vampires, to suck that out of you, to snatch your soul, to drain that out of you, to graveyard pussy you, you are going to lose your motherfucking grace in favor. You're going to lose your energy. You're going to lose your pizzazz. You're going to lose your mojo. You're going to lose, you know what I mean, your electric motherfucking charge. Henceforth, when a lot of these artists come out with their first album and then they go on tour or they go in places where they begin having a lot of sexual trysts, aka translation, they start getting a lot of box from women who they've never vetted. They don't know their birth chart, they don't know their signs, they don't know what they mean, they don't know their mental state, they don't know their spiritual state. They don't have quantum computers, or they don't have handheld devices where they could read a person's aura, or they could read where a person's ailments exist. I do have access to something like that. Y'all should hit me up on my DM if you ever want to get a quantum reading about your auric field and also the health of your body. You can schedule that and have representatives that could make it to you, or you have to make it to us, and you could get diagnosed on a real level. Not no play shit. Like some real shit. Energy work. Not blood work. Don't let nobody take your blood. You could do energy work and tell where your dispositions are. But here we go. All of these people are sharing all of this energy, and what happens on their second album? They don't got it no more. What happened on the third album? Niggas don't got it no more. What do they say? You fucked yourself stupid, right? Some people bust so many nuts that they don't have no more brain left. They don't have no more brain matter left. You don't have any more creativity. You don't have anything to draw from. What it is that you were drawing from, it's inside of you. But what part of it inside of you is it? You have to be able to answer that question. Is it your brain fluid? Well, guess what? Your semen is your brain fluid. And if you keep busting nut after nut after nut, especially into palmetto, translation, nigga, your palm, or you're spilling your seed, remember, anything that you spill or anything that you spend, you're wasting it. So if you spend your money, you're wasting it. If you spend your seed, you're wasting it. If you spill your seed, you're wasting it. They said one of the number one sins is spilling your seed. They didn't make that up. It wasn't Old Testament. We could walk. No, nigga. And the Jew who is in charge of both Silicon Valley and San Fernando Valley, he and his cohorts and the people who he works with, like Big Pharma and other people who work on your dysfunction, they benefit off the fact that you're sexually overcrazed, that you are hypnotized by pornography, that you don't have control of your lower self and your lower faculties, and you don't practice sexual mastery, and the fact that you are spilling your seed, and the fact that you're wasting all of your chi, and the fact that you're dumping it and you're not procreating it and you're not cultivating it and you're not semen retention, activating your God body, your pineal. You're not sending it back up your spine and lighting up your motherfucking crown chakra. They benefit off of the fact that you're dysfunctional. Remember that. Always keep that in mind when you ask why would they do that? What would they gain from that? What's, why they're not so bad, they're not into things like that. They're just trying to get a few dollars. No, retard. They they want to sabotage the chosen few. They want to sabotage the children of God. They want to play the devil's advocate because the devil said, I'm going to use the art of suggestion. The devil said, I'm going to trick them. The devil said, or the evils, or whatever you want to call it. You know what I'm talking about? It's all the same. Your lower self, the evils, the devil. It's that other motherfucker on your shoulder that's trying to sabotage you, that's trying to destroy you, that's trying to kill you. Then there's another part of you that's trying to keep you alive, that's trying to keep you popping, that's trying to keep you glowed up and lit. There's another part of you that's trying to keep you dull, that's trying to keep you rusted, that's trying to keep you depreciated. Then there's another part of you that's trying to keep you appreciated, that's trying to keep you glowing, not dull, shining, my nigga, glowed up. That's the internal struggle, the internal battle, that's the inner war. You understand? That's part of the hero's journey. That's Bill Bixby fighting the Incredible Hulk. That's what that is. And it doesn't matter your disposition, don't matter your nationality, don't matter your skin tone, complexion, or melanite counts. Everybody's going through it. It don't matter your sexual disposition, your whatever position you have sex in. It doesn't matter your height. It doesn't matter your tax bracket, nigga. It's all encompassing. It's all pervasive. It affects and reaches and touches every single human being on this planet whose mission is to find out who the fuck they are and what their purpose is. And that's where we're at. And we just here to simplify it so people don't make it so goddamn difficult. So, the ultimate goal or the mission or the purpose is actualized, because it's a lot of distractions taking away from actualizing the purpose. So we talk to you about alignments like new moons. We say, yo, the new moon is coming. Get ready. Get your tools. Get your affirmations, nigga. Get your boo. Get your sexual partner and create a vision board, right? And program into her ears. Speak to her into existence what it is that you want to create, and vice versa for the queens, doing that to your kings. Have conversations about what the future holds. Have conversations about what it is that you want to manifest underneath the midnight sun. I mean, underneath the midnight moon, where those blue UV rays are making things come into fruition, where they're making things grow in the darkness, in the unknown, in the triple blackness, not in the sun. It's in the dark where things are grown. It's in the darkness where things are manifest. It's in the triple darkness where thought comes out of nothingness into reality. So at night, you should be doing a lot of creating, a lot of programming, a lot of things of such. But you should be in tune with nature, and that's simply what nature is. And in the daytime, you cultivate, and in the daytime, you move, and in the daytime, you're active, and in the daytime, you're doing a lot of other things. But we're talking about the night right now. You know, create the future that you want to see. You want these youth to stop killing each other. You are tasked with creating a future where they stop killing each other, and you are tasked with showing it to them. That is your task. If you are part of a 1,000 member team that was behind the production of that 2 hour, 3 hour, 3 series, whatever event, then you get on board and you figure out how you're going to be a part of that collective. And don't use the excuse that you can't, because as you say that you can't, there's thousands and millions of people around the world right now who can, and they're doing it, and you're not. They're making movies, they're making documentaries, they're making cartoons and animations, they're making video games, they're making apps, they're making everything, and you're not. And you're making excuses, and you're trying to make exit plans, and you're making a hole on some Doctor Strange shit. You're making a way out. You know what I mean? You're trying to make a way out. You know what I mean? With the little ring and whatnot. You're trying to create a little square to squeeze through, or a door to walk through, so you don't have to work. But that's not what we're here to talk about. You know, we're here to talk about those that are working, and I see them, I feel them. When I'm around them, I know that things are better, and they're gonna be better, and they're for the better. And when I weigh out the possibilities, I say, you know what? This is the better. If you want to talk Doctor Strange, I weighed out the different possibilities. None of them are perfect, but this is the better imperfect than the other imperfect. I've weighed them all out. None of them are perfect. You understand? We all die in the end. You know what I mean? We all die in the end. Whoop-de-doo. But guess what? This possibility is better than that possibility. Right? So stop trying to measure out our worth and our value based off of the fact that we just not a bunch of peaceful niggas sitting around being peaceful, or the fact that none of us are perfect enough to pass your puritanical measurement of the Jesus that you're still looking for, when we told you to unplug from that. When we said that you're the Jesus, that the only Christ that you're going to find is in your consciousness. So you should be focusing on Christ consciousness. You're talking about you want Jesus to take the wheel. Jesus Christ is Christ consciousness. And Christ consciousness is only achieved. It could be achieved by reading the Bible and getting real deep with it. But Christ consciousness is not some man that's gonna come through with the Louis robe or the Versace robe and change your whole life. That's not what was being talked about. You have to go deeper into that. You know what I mean? You're gonna have to unpack the Bible. So Christ consciousness is being able to create something out of nothing. Christ consciousness is being able to go amongst the projects where somebody got killed the night before and standing tall with your brother Umar Johnson and brother Reza Islam and the Nation of Islam and brother Ben X and Pop Darby and the ISUPK and Tazarapath and standing on the front lines and still teaching the people unapologetically, standing there in Long Island when the police pulls up during the outdoor event and still talk up about our rights to defend ourselves regardless of who's staring at us and how intimidating they're trying to make them, they're imposing themselves. Nah, not at all. Like, y'all don't even exist. You know, real warriors do things like that. And, you know, that was something that I sort of was a test at the panel. Like, we were out there. It wasn't a lot of police. It was just 2 police that pulled up. But that was a great time to see if there was cowards amongst us. Like, that was a great time to see if anybody on the panel was not about, you know, not about what they say that they're about. And what I'm saying is we're not anti-police or we're damn sure not anti-government. But we're about empowerment to a people who are being oppressed, hunted, and terrorized by the police. So while we're speaking about them, if we're speaking about them like they don't exist while they're standing right there, I know that that person has a level of non-fear about addressing what needs to be addressed. Especially when you understand they work for you. So the Bible is a very magical book, but it's a book. You got to understand the Kabbalah. If you read the book, you got to understand the Kabbalah. Can't read the Bible and not know what the Kabbalah is, not know what the Hebrew alphabet is not what you think it is. You can't read the Quran. You can't read the Quran or the Bible and not know what the tree of life is, not know what the Sephiroths are. You know what I mean? You can't read the Bible and not know what gematria is. It just doesn't make sense. So a lot of people have been reading the Bible wrong. And in the Bible, when it said that ye are God, and in the Bible, when it says that man is God, and that God created man in his image, and even the angels got jealous of him, you understand? And to be exact, he's speaking of the black man, the melanated man, who he created first, all right? Just for the records, to let the records show. And who was first shall be last, and who was last shall be first, and all of that talk. Right? And when you read that book, if you do not understand that you're reading a book of spells, if you do not understand the mystical properties of the Biblios Helios, then you could be put under those spells. You'll be doing yourself a disservice. You would do yourself, if you're into the Bible and that's what you're doing and you're not going to put it down, you would benefit immensely off of learning about the Kabbalah, off of learning about geodetics, off of learning about this tree of life, off of learning how to interpret the Bible from 5 different levels. off of learning about the Gnostics. You would highly benefit off of that. Like, that would take your Bible to another level. That would take your, once again, your quest to become Christ-like to another level, because this is about achieving Christ consciousness. It's about nothing else. That book is a guide, the basic instructions before leaving earth. That book is a book of parables. That book is a book of spells. But this is about the Christos Negros. This is about the Christ consciousness. You understand? This is about being anointed. This is about waking up. This is about activating your third eye. Christ consciousness is consciousness when at its highest degree. And Christ was amongst the shooters. Ooh, ooh wee. Shout out to Sauce Walker. I met Sauce Walker for the first time last night. Ooh wee. You know what I'm talking about? He was in the trenches. You know, and in the trenches, in the gutter, in the mud, right? In the mud, in the abyss, is where the lotus flower grows, right? The lotus flower is growing in the mud. So we were in the mud. We were in the trenches. We were in the hood. It was a bunch of us speaking to the people, and we had love in our hearts. When I went to that black church on Saturday in Philadelphia, we all had love in our hearts. We presented the elders their awards, and me and my brother got up there and we went in. And then Professor James Smalls, I mean, goddamn, he's on a whole nother level. Like, he took it to a whole nother level. He went all the way in. Professor James Smalls closed it out, and he bodied it. And I suggested anybody who has the opportunity to see that historic event, you do everything in your power to see it, because that's something for the history books. You know, I knew it was going to be historical, and, it was. It definitely. Ask anybody who was there. And it's not me tooting my horn. Go and do go and take a poll or something. But we went in. We all went in. And the vendors, they were dope. The venue was fire. Like, I didn't even get to take a lot of video and film myself inside of that cathedral, that black church. Like, it was so lit. It looked so dope. But we'll be back. Philly, it's a lot of love, so we'll be back soon. You dig? And then the next day on Sunday, that was Saturday. Shout out to Black and Nobel. Shout out to Tyson. Shout out to Haas. You know what I mean? Shout out to everybody that was behind that event. I salute. You know what I mean? We'll be back very soon. And then the next day, back in Long Island, in the same place that we were at Friday, to end the weekend, because it was a weekend event. Brother Dr. Umar Johnson was the speaker. He had, he got on at like 2:00, and he rocked to about 5:00. So he had about a 3-hour lecture, for the family out there. And it was a dope lecture. It was a powerful lecture. It was information that I was familiar with, but the way that the brother gives it, the way that he gives it up, the way that he delivers it, of course it had newer information sprinkled in there, and the people were receptive, and they were excited because they were telling all of us that Long Island doesn't get to see that demonstration, that kind of unity, and it was needed, and it's going to do something. It's going to shake the pillars of that community. And if one person, maybe it was a little baby in the projects that was laying down and was just on timeout, and Dr. Umar's voice was echoing off of the walls, because that's what it was doing. The sound system was mad loud. So even when we were up there speaking in the panel with all of us, it was like Voltron. And on Sunday, even with Umar, it was echoing off of everybody in everyone's apartments. So if one person got activated, then the job was done, and they may be the ones. They may be that might be the Neo, you know. So, and this is all in the midst of a retrograde. Um, at the end of the lecture, the brother was embraced by many of the panelists from Friday, the collective, who have made a pledge to collectively come together, to work together, to build together, and to solve the collective issues that the people, not the individual, but the peoples and the communities and the networks are suffering or challenged by. Not even suffering, that are challenged by, because it's only a challenge. People are only being challenged in this world. People are only being challenged with obstacles and results of decisions that were made either in ignorance or made unwillingly, but it's a lot of cause and effect. It's a lot of cause and effect going on in the world as we speak, and in our communities, and in our villages, and all of that. It's a lot of cause and effect. So, translation, niggas done fucked up a lot of times, and they need help to get out of some shit that they done stepped into. So, we have to discover the tools that are available, pick those tools up, become tool carriers, tool wielders, and tool users. Niggas got to use their toolies. You know what I'm talking about? Because we're out here using our tools, and we're showing the people, not telling you, not prophesy, not proselytizing, prophesizing, and showing you, not just us, Brother Rich. His tool is the Canon, not the Canon with Mark Buchanan. His tool is the Canon camera, tripod, microphone, Cambada. His tool is a microphone, a recording program, a computer, right? Tariq Nasheed. His tool, a computer, a, a camera, a tripod, right? These are all tools that people are using. Sinetta, his tool, a camera, a tripod, and a backdrop, right? These are legends that I'm naming. These are people who are going to be in the history books, regardless of what anybody has to say, right? These people are going to go down. And I'm just naming you the tools that they use because of the fact that I've seen it. I can name you 100 more people, right? Brother Rizza Islam, his phone, right? His tool is his smartphone, right? But even without a camera, or even without a microphone system, even without a tripod, and even without a $500 to a $5,000 camera, he still manages to get his message. He still manages to get his brand. He still manages to get his content around the world to millions of people in real time. And he has one tool. That's his phone. So how's niggas gonna ever tell me about what they can't do and what they don't got and all of this other shit? And I just named you the legends, and I just gave you simply the fucking one tool that they're using that all of you niggas can have. And it's people that got 8 times that. I didn't say green screen. I didn't say Benz. I didn't say none of that dumb shit that don't have nothing to do with this conversation, right? I'm keeping it direct. I'm saying that each one of those person has one tool, not 2 tools, not a drone, not a red camera. You know what I'm saying? Not, I said a Canon and a tripod. That's it. And a microphone. That's it. There ain't nothing else to separate that person from you. There's nothing separating that person from you, though. You know what I'm saying? There's other variables at play that we can build on, but there's nothing. Think about that real quick. Let that shit marinate. You know, I got 68 episodes of Melanin Monday. Nigga, I'm using a tool, my phone. And there's nothing else that I need. I just have one phone. Nigga, one mic. One phone is one mic, is one broadcaster camera that niggas in CBS would use to broadcast their shows live. It was a big camera. Now it's just one tool. It's a phone, bro. I could do radio shows. I could record videos. I could talk to my daughter around the world, my son around the world, FaceTime. I could use it for a location device. I could watch movies on it. I could film movies on it. I could edit movies on it. So I can't come before anybody and tell the world, yo, what I don't got and what I can't do and what I'm not able to do and all of this dumb shit. I'm just being, I'm just doing, I'm just guiding. But what I'm explaining to you is if you see those amongst you being great, just using one tool, imagine who we are going to be when we have 100 tools. Imagine the level of God that's going to come out. Imagine the frequency that is going to raise up, that's going to raise, from within. Imagine what will emanate from right here when you put the tools in our hands. When you give us the tool, when we have access to the tools, because look at what we're doing with the knowledge. Look at what we're doing with a phone. Look at what we're doing with a cannon, my nigga. Simple cannon. A little Rebel. Clap, clap, clap. Then it moved up to a 7D. Clap, clap. You know what I'm talking about? Then your boy popped up on a red camera. You feel me? Then we on the drones, it's just, you gotta understand the tools. I'm playing with the tools, my nigga. This is tools of war and it's tools of trade. If you want to be a movie star, nigga, shoot your conversation in a red camera. That's the movie camera. Shoot it in a black magic camera. Or you could shoot it on your iPhone. You could be a movie star off of your phone with zero budget and some ambition, my nigga. And niggas want to complain about what's not happening and who's hunting you down and all of this dumb shit. You want to waste my time? You feel me? You want to try to burn up my motherfucking gasoline on that? No. You want to burn up my data on that shit right there? You know what I'm saying, nigga? Y'all niggas don't, you don't, I don't think people value their data. Once again, like I said earlier, we're running wild without a value system. There's no value system in this community. I'm not going to talk about hip hop. I'm not going to extend it to a macro conversation. I'm going to keep it on a micro. In this said community right here, this collective of millions of black, melanated, beautiful, wealthy, happy, healthy, African, American, ADOS, metaphysical, occultic, Moorish, Hebraic, Shalomish, Nubianish people, RBG-ish, you know what I'm saying? All of the God in the earthish, the whole collective, but all you niggas, right? The whole nation, the whole, whatever, it's in the millions. It's in the millions. Easily in the millions, right? So, with millions of people who have access to cutting edge information, I'm talking about higher level information, from multiple schools of thought and knowledge. You name it, it's out there. You want to talk metaphysics, you want to talk biology, you want to talk science, you want to talk genetics, you want to talk history, commerce, civics, law, whatever you can name. There's people out there that has information out here that will blow you away. There's teachers out here, there's lecture series out here, there's books out here, there's channels and platforms and all kind of shit. Are you taking advantage of that? Are you monetizing that? Are you using that as source material to create products and services? Nigga, are you taking it to another level? Or are you just sitting around critiquing and, you know, trolling, you know what I'm saying? And feeling intimidated by niggas that are in their greatness bag. You know what I'm saying? Like, you really have to ask yourself, are you adding on to the greatness, or are you trying to diminish? Nigga, are you using the Midas touch, or are you using the Thanos snap? Are you trying to depreciate somebody's value, or are you touching someone and turning them into gold because you know that you got the resources? You know that you got the key to open up the door to let certain people in to do what the fuck they need to do to be great, to get this shit over with, to get this mission complete. You got the key. You know you got the skeleton key. All you have to do is reach out with the Midas touch and open that door and let that person in so they could swim like Scrooge McDuck in the pool of Benjamins. It's people out there that be sitting there watching me and 100 other people, and they can do monumental things. They can make the world change overnight. But because of fear and because of the fact that they don't even know who they are in the equation of the whole movie, you know, they miss out on opportunities to be great by helping and abiding and assisting others in their greatness, even though everyone who they study, who they look up to, who they revere because of their greatness or their richness, their whole story and their whole timeline and everything that they were about is doing exactly the opposite of what the fuck they're doing. They looked out for people. They opened up the door for people. They set shit up for other people. They allowed other people to be great around them. But these people don't see that. So in 2019, on social media, where people are making millions and billions of dollars, where people have smartphones and thousands of dollars that can do everything like scan your body and all kind of shit. I'm talking about these are super phones, right? In 2019, where and it's millions of niggas, right? It's millions. I'm talking about, and this is a numbers game. It's nothing but a numbers game. I promise you. This Matrix, this is a game. This is not the real world. Let's be clear. Disclaimer before we even go forward. This is a red pill alert. You're in the Matrix. If you're looking at me through your phone, this is not the real world. The real world rules do not apply on some max headroom shit. Okay? It don't apply. This is a video game. Don't apply. Do not ever try to contribute real world rules to me on your phone. It just doesn't happen like that. So we are in a completely different zone right now in this matrix on the internet. It's not the real world. So you niggas be trying to tippy toe through this shit like it's the real world, and you're obeying the rules of the real world, and you're missing the point about what the goddamn matrix is and the power of it and how you're supposed to manipulate it and use it to your advantage. Why aren't you flying yet? Why aren't we jumping through walls yet? If the crackers out here killing us, why aren't we killing them in the Matrix yet? We're not even playing video. We're not even tweaking the quote unquote the mirror. This is a black mirror. This is the Matrix. It's so many characters in consciousness, but no one's playing the character or no one's getting paid for their characters. How many characters came across YouTube in the last 4 years? These niggas have billion-dollar personas, but no one is animating them. No one is putting green screen suits on them and wiring them and making video games out of them. The only one who came forward is, once again, the prodigy, Derek Grace. Shout out to Derek Grace. His grace and favor is increasing uh, with every endeavor. He just launched this morning or yesterday a PS4 cover that his app, it's an app turned a board game turned app turned video game called In-House Banking. He's a legend. He's doing what 2013 I was pleading with the community that we could do collectively together, in some of these lectures, like the evolution will be digitized in conscious industry. But it makes my heart smile to see that he's showing black people, melanated people, carbonated people, 666 people, that it can be done. Because what happens when you show 666 people that you can do something as a 666? They multiply. It's almost like cells. It's the observer turning into the participator. I mean, once you see it, it's like in the Matrix when somebody saw Neo, they turned into Mr. Smith. Well, if you see one of your own make it like that and hit it, then goddamn it, it's gonna make you hit it. It's gonna make other people start doing the same thing. So look out for more people who look like us in our community, in our network, coming forward with video games. He broke the mold. But real people who follow innovators, we don't hate, we innovate. You know what I'm saying? So if you see somebody doing something, they inspire you, because this whole thing, magic included, is about inspiring and being inspired. Some of the formulas, outside of being enthusiastic about what the fuck you doing and how you doing it and who's doing it to you, you know what I'm saying? Outside of that is, the inspiration aspect of it, or being inspired, that spark, you know what I'm saying? That flame that somebody gives you when they're inspiring. Like I was sitting there at the panel, I was inspired. I was like, okay, all right, these niggas is inspiring me to go harder in my public speaking, because I like the way that I like how certain people is giving it up, you know. I'm a master orator, I want to master, let me rephrase that. I want to master my orator skills. I don't feel like I've mastered it. So to see other people like Brother Hafiz Muhammad, his oratory skills, the way he commands the English language and the way he speaks from the diaphragm, is something that I'm taking notes. You know, that shit that you might not, it might mean nothing to you, but it means something to me. Professor Smalls, hearing him speak, you know, he made me, yeah, okay, all right, I got more learning to do. Okay, I got more studying to do. I got more refining to do. These are magnets. These are measuring points. Their greatness and their heights is what's needed in order for niggas to grow from their knees. In order to change from being a Negro, you gotta be able to see some tall niggas standing tall like skyscrapers so you could aspire to be tall like them. You feel me? That's you. If you don't see nobody tall around you, how you gonna want to be tall? How you gonna want to be tall? So if you sucker free, right, and you ain't afflicted with hate, you'll give it up when you see giants amongst you, and you'll take the necessary steps to get off of your knees as a Negro, right, and grow past your knees and be tall again and stand fucking tall and firm. You know what I'm saying? Like one of them trees in the Amazon. You stand tall and firm, and you'll stand out amongst the litter. You'll stand out amongst the masses. You'll stand out amongst the motherfucking the sloth, because that's what your people are. You know what I mean? That's what our people are. You know, that's what we've become. We're the savage. We're the masses. You know what I mean? We're the mob, the mindless mob. Actually, you know what I mean? When we're in the when we're talking about from the macro aspect, then we stand out. You could spot a person that's on your frequency a mile away, you know, and we stand out. So we're a part of that, but we're not that. So we stand out. So those of us who are standing out need to just stand out and stand down and start working with each other and linking up and building with each other, because that's the key. And it's magic in that. As long as we got rules, as long as we add value, as long as we add respect, as long as we add penalty system, as long as we add value system, as long as we add a reward system. Remember, let's get into this simple equation before I sign off. A reward system. If you create a system within society, within a network, within your village, within your community, within your set, where individuals are rewarded for the things that they do to help the collective, then you're going to get willing participants to do what? To put in some work. The streets have a reward system, okay? There's people in the streets that know, like shooters. Let's just go profane real quick. Shooters are hired, right? They're hired assassins or hired gunmen who know that if I finish this job, or if I take this job and I complete it, there's a reward attached to it. What's the reward? The going rate these days is 10,000. You might even get a 30 piece. You know what I'm talking about? Shout out to, yeah. So the reward in that aspect is, if I take a job and I handle it, I'm gonna get a big bag. So they go and do it, and there's a reward, and they're on to the next one. And when they hear about another offer, they're you know, they're enticed to pick it up, right? They're enticed to follow up on it. That's called a reward system. So imagine if we had a system in place in our community that every time one of us were able to crack a code, or one of us were able to create a work of art, or one of us were able to fashion from the deepest, darkest, most desolate places of our minds, you know, some of our innermost thoughts, and put them in a memoir, you know. What if some of us dared to record music and put out, you know, projects and whatnot that were deemed to be classics and had value to them? Like, what would happen if we had a system in place that could actually give that, or can apply, or can value those projects or those pieces of art? What if we had a system in place where anything that you put up, or anything that you create, or anything that you upload, or anything you put into the marketplace, it gets a valuation and there's value to it? What if we created a system to every single one of our master teachers? There's a whole roll call of them. One day we'll do a whole show and do a roll call of the teachers, of the master teachers, and the master scholars, and the master students, right? But what if we developed a system and we developed a situation where we can actually do what? We can actually restore value and add value to our teachers, our elders, our master teachers, our babas, our queen of fools, our mama pills, our Baba Samaj from the studio of Patah, our Professor James Smalls. You understand? Like there's a power in that. You know what I'm saying? They are to me, they're priceless. They deserve to be. There's a valuation to Dr. Phil Valentine's contribution to where we all are collectively. There's a valuation to Bobby Hemmett's contribution through his body of work. There's a valuation to Dr. Delbert Blair's contribution throughout his collective body of work. It has to be evaluated. They need to put a valuation to it. Someone has to be able to measure that. Not only put a number to it, but something has to be passed down and accumulated and put put to the side for his people. And his ideas have to have funding. There has to be a whole scholarship in their names. There needs to be museums playing their works at stops where, in states where Negroes convene who have Christ consciousness. Like, these are the things that, Facts 2020 and the vision that we're manifesting and that we're creating. This is just some of it. But you know, this is what we need to be aiming to create. And nobody can't tell us that we can't create it, because nobody can't tell us how to think. Nobody can't tell us how to dream. Nobody can't tell us how to vision the envisionable future. You know what I'm saying? Nobody can't tell us how to program this game. This is a game. This is a simulation, my niggas. You know what I mean? I don't wanna, spoil, I don't want to spoil alert. You know what I mean? But this is a simulation, you know? So collectively, we're going to program, and collectively, we're going to go into our subconsciousness, and we're going to manipulate the code, the algorithm. We're going to tweak it, we're going to edit it, you know, and we're going to make it into our favor, because the universe is conspiring for not only our success, but it's conspiring for our upliftment. It's conspiring for your success too, you know. So if you signed up to facts2020.org, thank you, salute to you. Be on the lookout for some information coming your way. If you haven't signed up for it, the best way for us to stay in touch when this YouTube thing is a thing of the past, when these videos are 10 years old, the best way for us to stay in touch is through the email list. So go and sign up to facts2020.org. Go and sign up to KTLUniversity.com. You dig? Go and stream Bill Bixby on the streaming networks. Go and get your clothes from kingscounty.bigcartel. Go and get your gold drops from golddrop.com. Go and, go and get your herbs from Mama Pill, from Greenleaf Herbal. Greenleaf-herbs.com. Okay? Helped me on many occasions in life. So, Greenleaf-herbs.com. That's Mama Pill. Get your bread up. You know what I'm saying? Get your bread up, boy. God. Get your ones up. Break the mold. You know what I'm saying? Break the mold. Bend the spoon. You're not a piece of shit. You're not worthless. You're not poor. There's no such thing as I don't have money. You're not a slave. You're not subservient. You're not a servant. You're not lower class. You're not a minor. You're none of those things. So change your lexicon. Change the way that you see yourself and you address others. You know what I mean? Especially your brothers and your sisters, those that are on your frequency. Change your outlook. Create your future or get with people who are out here creating an odd future. Not the one that they writing for you, the one you writing for yourself, or the one that's being written for you. Because there's people out here with the pen and they writing it for you. So, you know, play your part. I don't know what else to say. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got work to do. I got this live stream coming up this weekend, In Too Deep Part 2. We going in too deep, pause. We going real deep, balls deep, pause. Like, yeah, we going in. So, it's gonna be interesting. But this is techie red pill. This is blurty red pill in too deep. I'm gonna get on my blurty, put on my tin hat. This is tin hat red pill, cause I'm doing deep state. You know what I mean? Deep mind. You know, deep web. So it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be very dark too. In Too Deep series is dark. The first one was dark. This one is gonna be dark. So yeah. But thank you all tonight. I appreciate everybody. I'm gonna read your comments later. I've seen a lot of good stuff. Um, you know, like I said, this weekend helped put more faith into me, you know, just knowing that I'm on 100%. I'm on the right path. Um, I'm doing you know, what my mother actually programmed us to do. And I'm able to do it. Like, if anybody want to talk about what freedom is, if anybody ever want to talk about what success is, if anybody ever want to talk about what nigga I made it is, it's being able to do some shit in front of your mother, not hiding it, in front of people who are your age, and you don't gotta be embarrassed that your mom's is there, right? And then the thing that you doing is directly tied into the things that she's doing. You feel me? Nigga, that's success. You know, both of my parents are alive, and they basically seen the worst of me and my brother. They seen us in our lolia, in our when we was trapped in a red box. They seen us through our suffrage in a hero's journey. They basically seen us in the shallow grave in the underworld. Translation, niggas got rap sheets, right? So she had a so she had to face the possibility of being like, yo, I might lose these niggas to the streets, because that was the trauma that was inflicting us when we were young. We were losing a lot of our friends to gun violence. So fast forward to today, to be able to be I'm just being me. Like, if another thing about freedom, nigga, I'm just being me. You want to talk about what free is? Free is just being able to be who you supposed to be. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just like free. My freedom is because I'm able to talk freely and be accepted. I'm able to walk freely and be accepted. I'm able to be myself. I'm able to be comfortable in my skin. I don't have to sound mad corny. Like, I could have gave you the sorry to bother you voice a long time ago, guys. Like, you know, I could have took the intellectual route many moons ago, fellas. Yeah, yeah. You don't know what you guys missed out on, I tell you. You know, because, before the young niggas came, you couldn't be doing lectures with too much sauce. You understand? You couldn't have too much sauce doing the lectures. Like, it was a very, it was a controlled environment. And the new generation brought a whole nother feeling and a whole nother energy and a whole nother level of niggerdom to the show, to the stage, you know? So one of the prisons that people live inside of who are in public speaking, who are in leadership roles, who are in, basically global consciousness, because that's what this is the prison that some people find themselves boxed into, is that they're in organizations, right? And those organizations have restrictions. And those organizations are, and I'm talking about, there's multiple organizations, so I'm not talking about one organization. I'm talking about all of organizations have, you know they have a more concentrated path, right? They're not chaos, they're organized. So they have order, right? They're more like an order, right? Like you have an order, the Knights of the Order of, so they're more like an order. Then you have people that are not in organizations. They don't have no affiliation. They don't have nobody to answer to like that. They just chaos. You know what I'm saying? They're just being. You know what I mean? Like, yo, what school you belong to? I don't belong to any school. I am the school. Like, I'm not in an organization, but I'm organized. But I'm out here organizing. It's just different. So they're more chaos magic, and none of those two examples that I brought up, no one is greater than the other. They actually need each other to exist. So we're talking about the binary aspect of the world that we live in, where polar opposites work together, where dualities, opposites attract, and dualities are needed to function amongst each other in order for process to take place. You know what I'm saying? The protagonist and the antagonist. You need the AC and the DC. And I'm talking about the zeros and the ones. That's what this reality is. Like I said, it's programmable. Like I said, it's not that difficult. You understand? Like I said, it's not rocket science. It's being figured out by people a lot younger than us. That's a fact. It's being figured out by people who have less than us. That's a fact as well. They're figuring this shit the fuck out and they're mastering it. So I'm following tradition. These young ones, they got it. They born with it. The new generation, they got some skills. They got some light. They got some knowledge. They got some insight. You know, they have some ambition and they have some purpose that definitely has to be harnessed, encouraged, and endorsed, right? Endorsed and bankrolled. You cannot allow these crystals, you cannot allow these indigos, you cannot allow these star seeds to go to sit on Harvey Weinstein's lap, to go to Disney and try to get their magic on over there, or try to go to Jeff Epstein's sprawling mansion. No, nigga. You gotta become a philanthropist. You gotta become the goddamn budget. You gotta be coming to the collective fucking we have to come into a reward system where we're going to take charge of the economics of rewarding genius amongst us. Stop sending them to Mensa. Stop letting Disney take them. That part. That's what restoring the value system. That's what restoring the quote unquote penalty system, and that's what restoring the reward system will entail. It will make things function in a way where you're going to see things change overnight, literally. You're going to see people appreciated for who they are and their contributions, and it's going to make people even contribute more to who they are and their contributions, and people now have a reason, they have a incentive to do better and to be better, and they have now a measuring point. They have valuation to their actions, they have valuation to their lifestyle, they have valuation to the shit that they talk about and they be about. The most valuable thing amongst you vegan niggas is a slutty burger. Okay, that's maybe the most valuable thing is the stocks of the fucking Beyond Burger. You know, we need to add more value. We need to put more value into what we do. We need to put more value into what we do and who we are and the brands that we have and our incentive to who we're connected to our bloodline, and what we could prove. I don't know about everybody else. You know what I'm talking about? I'm comfortable with my bloodline and proving. My family got it. We own estates. Not no goddamn. We got estates. You know, it hit differently. Niggas got estates, acreage. So we all got work to do. Like I said last week, we are all on similar missions. I want to get my land back. My last name is Moreland. I got a mission. My first name is Philip. Inside of Philip is Red Pill. PHI is Phi, that's red. Fire, philanthropy, for philosophy, Phi. LLIP flipped around is pill. So my first mission, Red Pill. I'm living that. Unplugging niggas all day, right? My second mission is more land. To get more land. To get Moorish land. To get my land back. My estate. My estate. And I ain't gonna talk too much about it. But believe you me, it's gonna be a fight. So I just want people who are still, if you fighting for a check, nigga, hold me down on the back and shoot the arrow that way. Don't run off on me, because I might not be going for the reparations check. I might be going for the goddamn mountains that they took from us. They have the gold and all of the deposits in it. But don't worry. We all doing this together, because when you get the check, we going to open up a resort on a mountain, bro. We'll work together. You know, I'm an A-Doors. I'm a descendant of a runaway slave. You know? But it's family nonetheless. Nonetheless, this is Avengers and X-Men. It's family nonetheless. We in a good fight. We in a good fight. We're doing something when others choose to do nothing. You in a good fight. But now, you don't gotta fight. Now, you in a good fight. Okay. Ooh, that's cool. That's deep. All right. You're a social justice warrior. Send them some likes. Now it's time to do something completely different. Now it's time to use this technology, the tools, not the tool. The one tool I identified as the smartphone, and we all have that. But what about if you get 5 and 10 tools now that you could use, combine them, and you could do some things that can change the course that our network or our community has been going in. So what we saw this weekend, we can have that every week. We can have that every weekend. We can have it around the globe. We can have it in the 50 states. We can have 5 or 10 teachers that don't have nothing to do with us. They come from somewhere totally different. But it's so many of us that are doing things that our people need to see all of us in a fast amount of time. In an as an urgency, the same way that the candidates are stumping, they need to see brothers and sisters out here stumping with a concerted product. Shout out to We Buy Black. You know, they need to be sponsored. The sponsors like We Buy Black and other big brands, you know what I mean, big entities who are already on a horizon to being billionaires. So I ain't gonna talk y'all to, yeah, in real time, without all of that hoopla shit. without all of the speculation. We don't do speculation. You know what I'm saying? We do decorations. You know what I'm talking about? We don't do conspiracies. We do philosophies, and we do prophecies. It's just different over here. You know what I mean? It don't look the same, and it damn sure don't hit the same. It hit different over here, nigga. Talk black to me, yeah. So with that being said, I'm gonna tap out because the mission continue. The show must go on. There's work to be done. All right, and we'll be back on Third Eye Thursdays. I think that show will be more dedicated to Into Deep Part 2, so we could drive all of the people who may not even know that we're doing this, and drive them into awareness. A lot of stuff that we're going to be doing and I'm going to be doing, it's not going to be 3 months and 4 months and 6 months out. Information is changing rapidly, rapido. So the way that you do your lectures is gonna be faster. So you might, some shit might pop up and it's gonna be done 2 weeks. 2 weeks, one day we're gonna be doing. It's gonna be like that because you got to stay on top of the information while the windows are open. You got to teach the people when the student is ready. The teacher shall appear. So that's what we're doing. Go to Eventbrite and pull up N, the letter N, as in nuclear, 2, the number 2, deep, DEEP, and then the number 2, all right? And then the tickets will come up. Put it in Eventbrite. It's a live stream. It's a Zoom live stream. I'm going to be sharing the screen. I'm going to be talking as well. I'm going to be taking Q&As. It will be about 5 hours. This lecture will take down. That will go down this weekend. I believe it's on Sunday. All right, so pull up, okay? Especially everybody that saw American Gods lecture. All of those people, I'll be emailing you the flyer for this. So, love and light to the family. I'll catch ya. Check out Tough Talk. I think Tough Talk Tuesdays tomorrow with Blue Pillar. Make sure y'all support that. If you thought this was fire, wait till you plug into that. All right?